to yield real, tangible and immediate benefits to the people of Kenya. He'll witness or preside over the signing of the Kenya-Germany Agreement on Comprehensive Migration and Mobility Partnership. The signing of this important agreement establishes a framework for cooperation on labor mobility, apprenticeships, student training, employment and the welfare of employees, as well as for the readmission and return of citizens.
President Ruto will also address and attend the 2024 Baggerfest Festival themed Pamoja Stronger Together. Kenya is the festival's official partner country, marking the first time a non-European country has been selected for the role. The festival is scheduled for today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, President Ruto has continued to drum up support on Hustler Fund, stating that it is corruption-free, praising it for the transparency and its technology. The head of state emphasized the need for the government to embrace technology as a crucial tool in fighting corruption.
We rolled out the Hustler Fund. 12 billion shillings in it already. 22 million Kenyans are beneficiaries. Today we have 2 million Kenyans every day borrowing from the Hustler Fund. It is delivered on a technology platform. It is the single government project that has no corruption, because technology has provided the framework to make sure that we insulate it from, just imagine if we were distributing or giving out Hustler Fund using committees at every location, it would be hell. It would be chaos. But look at what technology has done. It has made it seamless, it has made it transparent, it's made it easy.
At the same time, Ruto pledged to uphold transparency.
It is our collective responsibility as Kenyans to make sure that Kenya succeeds. It is not the business of the president alone. It's the business of every Kenyan for us to succeed, because in that success is everybody's success. As we do this, I want to assure all the stakeholders here that the government of Kenya that I run will continue to be open. I have absolutely no qualms in being held to account. I encourage civil society to continue telling us the things we are doing wrong so that we can correct.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's appeal to Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja to listen to the wakulima market pleas over plans to relocate them to Kangundo market. In a social media post, Gachagua reminded Sakaja of the promise given by the Kenya Kwanza government to uplift Kenyans' lives. But in a rejoinder, Sakaja urged Gachagua to phone him directly instead. The county government insists that the relocation is necessary to address critical health, waste management and law enforcement concerns plaguing the city.
Our notice comes to the preview that before the construction of Wakulima Market, public participation had been done. Indeed, we need to decongest Wakulima Market. We are not relenting on the issue that the wholesalers must relocate to Kangundo Road Market. Wakulima Market currently can no longer host the number of traders who are there in together with their customers, and there have been need to decongest that area.
Embakasi East MP Babu has urged the traders to stay put, further claiming that the land the market sits on will be grabbed once the traders relocate. The traders have asked the county government to let them do their business and vowed not to move to the new market.
Soko ya Marikiti ni soko inalisha Nairobi mzima na nje ya Nairobi. Sasa kusema ati itolewe Nairobi ipelekwe sijui Kangundo, inapelekwa nini kaunti nyingine?
Ati walikuwa wamepeana notice kitu kama 4 years ago, watu waame.
Hii serikali sisi wenyewe vijana ndio tuliwachagua, na sasa kama itaendelea hivi pahali tunaambiwa wengi wetu hata hatujui huko.
Tunaomba atuachie soko yetu, watuachie soko yetu, sisi tuuze, juu hapo ndio tunategemea, mategemeo yetu iko hapo hivyo.
Sasa anatuambia tuhame twende wapi? Halafu ile pesa inashukuliwa kwenye hii soko inaenda wapi? Akitaka watu wasiwe congested, wajenge soko kama ya Dar es Salaam, ile Kariokoo market.
This is News. I am Dennis Aseta. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, yenin der, ayu markati kadikta. You know this character called a liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him, who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, now you fellow you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping out. You're my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can't run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge. Muga, not Muga.
He's here, and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman. Another man marries troubles.
Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It would die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
with the
Bukati,
same IBC.
You can't.
I tell you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Of course, kina Ednah, it's you said the B's and the P's. Kila kitu mkisia kisema atasema opposite.
Opposite?
Ukisema hii anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia opposite.
The Situation Room, Spice, the only way to start your day.
Good morning. It's Friday. It's the 13th of September 2024. How's the roads looking this morning? Not so much to talk about. It's okay so far. Well, Kangundo Road has some issues just around Mama Lucy Hospital. That's in Umoja 1, but then the rest of the roads are okay. So just get into town. Let's see how they'll be looking like in about 1.5 hours' time. That will be peak traffic time.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have CT Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
How are you doing? Happy Friday. It's Friday the 13th, City. Friday the 13th.
It's supposed to be bad omen.
Yeah.
And should a black cat cross your path, hack, you're done.
Quisha.
Well, is it white or black? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Something like black.
Yes, but something like black. So you be very careful where you walk.
Yeah.
Kikilete shida. Friday the 13th. Yes, those who believe in these things say ikonux mingi sana. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just a Friday, and it's just the 13th. Yesterday was the 12th, and tomorrow will be the 14th.
What?
Yes.
Sasa lakini, today is the day that Kenya Kwanza, President William Ruto and the DP Rigathi Gachagua are marking exactly 2 years since waliweka Biblia chini. Hivi.
13th.
Today.
So if we were to go by that thinking, the superstitious, laden thinking, then a lot of negative things are going to happen today. Either they'll be announced today or they were started off a while ago, but they'll be made manifest today.
Ni leo.
Hele. Bas, ndio hiyo.
Hele. Hey.
Drama.
Haya. Kilmutu, good morning and how are you doing? Welcome to Friday. It's the 13th of September. Like you've said, Kenya's biggest conversation, the final week, the final show for the week. This is the second week of September, isn't it?
It is the second week of September, yes.
Alafu after this, tunaenda hivyo.
But then, wikatu kidogo, you yawn, shut your mouth.
Hii wiki kisha, we are into October.
Yes, that's it. You open, yawn again, you're in December.
Where?
Just when you're thinking of stretching, New Year.
Where? In 6 months' time, it will be 2027.
That is precisely what it will be. 2027.
Okay. Let me tell you what we shall discuss today. Number 1, 7 a.m., our Health Friday conversation. Understanding postpartum hemorrhage and why it's a number 1 killer in women. Now, you've heard of very many cases where somebody went to be delivered of a baby in a hospital or even at home, and then bleeding, they died. Why does that happen? We'll be joined by the president of the Kenya Obstetrical Gynecological Society, Dr. Kireki Omanwa. He'll be joining us today at 7 a.m. for that conversation to understand it and also to understand then how to avoid it. At 8 o'clock, we will talk about the state of livestock production in Kenya as we look at 2 years of Kenya Kwanza administration. We start with that. The Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. Livestock, the State Department for Livestock. The Principal Secretary is Jonathan Mweke. He comes in at 8 a.m. We look at livestock and how livestock is doing. And then at 9 o'clock, we talk about the coffee industry, the ailing coffee sector in the country, budget allocation question. Apparently, CT, there's something called the Coffee Sherry Fund. Okay? Coffee Cherry Fund was started to be this rotating fund that is given to the coffee factories.
And it started in the Kibaki era.
Yes. And the whole idea here is to help these factories, first of all, access money so they don't have to go borrowing expensive loans. And also, when farmers harvest and they present their produce to the factories, their cooperatives can start paying them.
They can be given an advance payment.
An advance payment.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, as they wait for the produce to be sold. And
just
the
the process of, coffee getting to the market, getting paid, money being wired by, all these processes. Yes.
Now, rumor has it, and it shall be confirmed today, that there is a plan to reallocate some 1.5 billion shillings in this fund to some other,
entities.
It's basically, put some money here, this one, tuweka kwa masiwa, hii patia sijui group ya wamama, wafanya nini, something like that, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Gathoni wa Mushomba is the MP for Githunguri constituency. Githunguri is a coffee growing area. She will be here at 9 a.m. to tell us about this.
Githunguri pia wako na maziwa.
Kuja tusikie. So what's been happening with the Coffee Sherry Fund? Sawa kabisa. Very good. At 6:15, we are live streaming the show everywhere. Ednah and Lydiah, is Radio Garden back? Bado? Hiyo kitu hiyo tutasort out very soon. But we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on SpiceFM. Where else? On TikTok. If you're online, say hello. We'll acknowledge your presence shortly. First, let me tell you the weather forecast.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Actually, I'm not forecasting the weather. Let me just tell you how the weather is looking like right now across the country and across the globe. It's cloudy in Nairobi, current temperatures 13 degrees. It's warming up and sunny in Mombasa at 22. Same, cloudy in Malindi at 25. In Kisumu City, partly cloudy at 20. Nakuru City, 13 and clear. Eldoret, 12 and clear. Nyeri, it's 11 and mostly cloudy. Kakamega, partly cloudy at 17. Kampala, cloudy at 17 as well. Kinshasa, 23 and clear. Partly cloudy in Johannesburg at 17. Lagos, partly cloudy at 25. Addis Ababa, sunny at 12. Mogadishu, sunny at 25. Mostly clear skies in Dar es Salaam this morning at 23. In Paris this morning, partly cloudy at 7. In London, cloudy at 8. New York, clear skies tonight at 19. And then in Beijing, it's partly sunny at 26.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Watu ni wengi, and we thank you all for waking up and tuning in so early. Sawa. Bossman is saying, Ednah, show yourself. Ednah amesema next week anakuja to show herself. Yes. Bossman says, Evo. Calvin Merindo, it's high time to mourn Ednah. Today there's a campaign. Occupy until Ednah shows up. Alfred Makori, good morning, great team. I'm looking forward to an informative and exciting discussion. Dig deep into these UDA government deals, especially with the East. All right, we shall see what to do. Bish, some buildings don't have the 13th floor. We shall only be speaking good things over Friday the 13th. Yeah. Monica Oile, good morning. I'm not leaving the house today. I've ever proved it's a worst day because something life-changing happened to me. Hiya, on Friday the 13th. Monica says, maybe I have experience with Friday the 13th. Today, indoors. Yeah.
Hatoki.
Okay. That's why she feels safe. Felix Shihemi, Adani deal ni siri ndani. Washington Okechi, good morning, Spice family. I'm tuned in from Houston, Texas. I love you guys. We love you back. Moza Nyambura. Hello, team. Is it possible that one of the fine days we invite Boniface, Omtata, Wanjege, PLO as a combination? Hawa watu ni wengi bwana, hatuna space. My Prince Gilbert Masangeli will be sentenced today. If you happen to meet him, arrest him and hand him over to a prison near you. Rafa Olajero, good morning, Spice family. Watu wa Mlima, what is happening? Mlima inapasuka. High Quest, morning, great team. Greetings from Ken Kibara in Kabatini. Nice day to you. Desmond Ortiz, good morning. Don Sabwa, Soboduro Market has to move. I hope there'll be no infernos. Good morning, City and Eric. Good morning, Eric and City. Ednah, New KK accuses not to be accountable. We can't furnish Parliament with Ruto Adani deal because there's a case in court. Yeah, we heard that. Lenas Getonga, good morning. Jay Wangai, Abdiaziz Omar, good morning. Robert Bogo, Habari Asubui, Felix Busire, everybody who's tuned in. Asante sana for choosing this as a way to start your morning. We appreciate your presence. Even those on Facebook, in Joe Kanji, Paul Opar, Gere Suso, Wilson Mbakaya Sakwa. Habari yenu? Good morning, City. Final day of Proverbs from the Federal Republic of
Somalia.
Yes.
Okay. A beggar and a ruler know people best.
A beggar and a ruler know people best.
Yes.
Those two, if you want to know something about someone, talk to a beggar.
Talk to a wealthy person.
Talk to a ruler.
They will tell you stuff. Kile ambacho hujui utakijua.
I wonder what the message here is. What is the message? I wonder.
You wonder.
No, people best. Anyway, it's okay. It's all right. Now, let's take a look at at the headlines. Number 1, the Standard uncovered Adani and his Kenya deals. Who is this Adani? Even before JKIA deal fires are extinguished, questions swirl as details emerge in the Senate that controversial Indian conglomerate is eyeing yet another multi-billion shilling deal, shrouded in secrecy with state firm Ketraco. So what exactly is Asia's second richest man up to? 1988. That's the year that Gautam Adani founded Adani Group, initially as a commodity trading before expanding into import and export, and then diversifying its portfolio to coal, oil, ports, logistics, power, commodities, among others. That has made the man a very, very wealthy man. His net worth is about 10 trillion shillings. You see, our national debt, that's how much he's worth. 10 trillion. He is the second richest man in Asia. Not India, Asia. Okay?
Akona pesa mingi.
Pesa otas, my friend.
Mingi.
He can give us this money for free and tell us to do the airport. Okay.
All right.
30 years, duration that Adani wants to run JKIA in a takeover deal that will see it upgrade the airport, including construction of a second runway and a new passenger terminal. And they are estimated to spend about 230 billion shillings. That's $1.85 billion in current exchange rate into that JKIA deal. Then there's something else. There's another project, a 117 billion shilling project, cost of a power infrastructure upgrade proposal by Adani Energy Solutions, approved by the government, which aims to construct 371 kilometers of transmission lines and 5 substations in eastern and western Kenya as part of PPP. Hawa Adani wako ndani ya Kenya fully.
Right.
Yes. Other headline, 2 years of Ruto, Kenya Kwanza's broken promises, fighting crisis. On September 13th, 2022, William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto was sworn in as Kenya's 5th president after a hard-fought and contested election. Beginning today, we reflect on his tumultuous presidency and how Kenya has changed for the better or worse. Special report in the Standard today, pages 6, 7, and 8. It's the first of a series of the Standard will do. In the Daily Nation, Gachagua isolated. New developments further complicate the relationship between the DP and his boss. There was a meeting in Nyahururu yesterday. It was called the Nyahururu Declaration. Some 48 ruling party MPs from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's backyard yesterday vowed to rally behind Interior CS Kithure Kindiki as the fight for the control of the mountain escalates.
Yeah.
They also have a story about Ruto at 2, hits and misses. It's a mixed bag of fulfilled and broken pre-election pledges. 2 years since President Ruto rose to power on lofty promises of creating jobs for millions of unemployed youth and prioritizing the needs of low-income earners. How's he doing? We'll look at those stories. A striking nation inside Kenya's wave of protests. As President Ruto marks 2 years in office today, his administration is fighting protests and workers' strikes that threaten his hold on power. Lives have been lost, property destroyed, and public services paralyzed as Kenya becomes a country of chaos and protests. At the heart of what's becoming the new normal for the Kenya Kwanza administration has been a sustained backlash by citizens against controversial taxes and questionable policies by the regime. Story, back page of the Nation. Other headlines in the Nation as well. Why you could soon find yourself in jail for defying elders.
Okay.
City, you can send people to jail.
Quickly.
Yeah.
You just keep talking to me carelessly and see what happens.
Yeah, you just tell someone, nipati 1,000. They don't give you. They have defied an elder. And defying a decision by the Council of Elders could soon land you in jail for 6 months and a fine of 50,000 shillings if a bill currently being debated in Parliament is passed.
Okay. This is Kenya, my friend.
So, first of all, Council of Elders. So they can actually now come up with a decision.
They can.
And if you defy.
Well, what will happen is, if we go by the trend we have seen, where defiance of such rulings is the norm, you can do what you like. It'll just the defilement will just continue. We'endelea tu.
Weongea tu. When you find ngapi 50,000? Sawa.
Hiyo ni sawa tu.
Hiyo ni sawa tu.
Utalipa, tutaona.
Also in the Daily Nation, new case filed against Adani JKIA deal. Activists and jurists challenge plan to lease out airport. Another case. Remember there was another one that was filed.
Oh no, but we had said this before. The moment it read, we said this thing is going to court. The thing that hangs over my head, even as I think about this, has this deal been signed? You know that the government is working on it. Has it been signed?
Churchill was telling the Senate yesterday that bado.
Really?
Bado wana. It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. This man, Masengeli, top police job interviews, court tie, and state house meetings. There's a kind of interesting story on page 2 of The Nation when we look at it. Apparently, the day the National Police Service Commission went to meet the president and give him the results of the interview for the Deputy Inspector General position, in the corridors of State House emerged one man. His name is Gilbert Masengeli, and then the report showed that there was a tie between Masengeli and somebody else. We'll look at that story. You tell us what's in the Star and the Business Daily.
Well, I will. In the top right-hand corner burnt orange.
Today is the burnt orange day.
It's a burnt orange
Siasa.
Day. Mingi Kali, page 8, Siasa. A reflection on Kenya Kwanza government successes 2 years since taking office. Then again, also plus inside Siasa, why Raila settled on Nyong'o. Okay? This is interesting, meaning ODM has party, has NEC, has all these organs, but the headline is why Raila settled on Nyong'o.
So Raila basically told Nyong'o to act as acting.
Yes.
Because they are deputy party leaders. Why didn't he elevate Abdul Somad, for example, and say Abdul Somad Wewe as one of the deputy party leaders?
Hapana, wameingia tu juzi, bado hawajashika doria vizuri.
What is Nyong'o in the party?
Nyong'o.
He used to be Secretary General Kitambo. What is he now in ODM?
Elder.
Okay.
This is where now the founding member syndrome inaingiaga. Ni wale watu ambao wamekaa kwa chama na ni vigogo. Plural ya vigogo is magogo. Yes. Okay? Aga Khan to find out why some people age faster than others. Okay? Let's get a story.
Aga Khan the person or Aga Khan the hospital or the university?
Baba, his story on page 3.
There's Aga Khan University, Aga Khan Hospital, Aga Khan the Prince.
And university. It's university. Haiwezi kuwa Aga Khan himself amesema, okay guys, can we find out
why are people aging?
Why are people aging? No. This, my friend, is Nini?
It is a university.
In university ndio wamesema 300 Kenyans will wear devices as experts monitor blood, behavior and brains. This is how wameandika hii kitu. It's an article by John Mushangi. Sawa.
Interesting one.
It's an interesting one actually. Yes. Why seeking sexual favors in offices may soon land you in jail. Okay, note here in offices, okay? Now, Nairobi Women Representatives Esther Passaris has put a strong case for her push to outlaw sextortion in private and public institutions. That's what it's called. Sextortion is the abuse of power to coerce individuals into providing sexual favors in a position that is being considered by Parliament. It would be an offense to ask for sexual favors from individuals seeking services in private and public offices. Sawa.
Why do we need that law? Is there no law that deals with such issues?
I'm sure there is. You see, what we were discussing yesterday with the good justice, the issue of harassment.
At work, in the workplace.
Sexual harassment, all these things. That's what it deals with.
And the judge said there is need for stringent
Yes, there need to be details so that you know exactly what it is you're talking about. There is a certain open-endedness to some of these laws. So it leaves it very wide open to all manner of interpretations. It said, specificity inatakikana ili watu wajue iko
Okay.
Political war. Declaration marks a notable shift in Mount Kenya. This is bang in the middle of the paper. Okay. 69 central MPs ditch Gachagua for Prof. Kindiki.
Oh, yeah.
Leaders accuse DP Rigathi of pursuing personal ambitions. For heaven's sake, which politician does not pursue personal interests?
What are they pursuing themselves?
I mean, precisely. What
Are
are
they
they
not
talking
ambitious?
about? If they're not ambitious, then they shouldn't be in politics. This is a bald-headed lie. I mean, what do you think they're doing? Every politician has self-seeking interests. Every.
The problem is, those self-seeking interests are not aligned with any.
So there's a general self-seeking interest that everybody must have. So when you don't align with the general self-seeking interest, then you are left in the cold. Sindio?
Yeah.
And there's more to this, as always is. Shame of globetrotting governors, MCAs as counties splash 17 billion on travel. And capitation still remains a story.
17 billion.
Now this is something that has been brought to our attention by Control of Budget. Taka nikusomee kidogo.
Hapana, wacha tufanye.
Wacha tukamate break ndio tuangalie. Ama nikuangalie
hujafanya business daily.
Business daily. Banks face ban of selling non-existent insurance. I didn't know this is possible.
What?
Banks face ban for selling non-existent insurance. I didn't know such a thing was possible.
Crazy.
New bank insurance licenses at risk and remitted cash leaves customers exposed. Wewe unachukua pesa.
Bank assurance. So you're working in partnership with an insurance company. So you take from your customers and then you don't remit to the insurance company.
So your insurance,
insurance does not know that the principal, as far as the insurance company is concerned, you haven't paid.
Jalipa. No, utakuwa na shida. Depleting power reserves shine a light on Uhuru's project ban, okay? This thinning electricity reserves has turned focus on a ban on a new power purchase agreement by former President Uhuru 3 years ago. Story. Universities failed to remit 958 million to SACCO deductions, meaning you deduct money, you don't remit. Close to 1 billion shillings. All right? CNGs stopped from using scheme to lower tax liability. This is a story about car in general, and they've been stopped from using profits from 2 of its subsidiaries to lower its tax liability by using the income to calculate its gross earnings. Okay. Hii company under his sorry.
Maisabu.
And hivyo, Kenya Reinvestor wealth falls 24% after bonus shares issue. Okay. The wealth of Kenya Re-investors has dropped by nearly a quarter to 1.9 billion since award of bonuses shares to investors. Investors have taken theirs, so kuna kitu may drop. Then there's a story of 3 billionaires taking on big corporates. This is a story of 3 individuals: Joel, Kamau, Kibe, Ngugi, Kiuna, Wainaina, Kenya, Njui. These are people who have invested big in the stock exchange, and how it is that their holdings, which are in the hundreds of millions amounting to billions, are a big factor in this industry. Those are the stories and the headlines in the Business Daily.
Very good. 27 minutes to 7. Let's take this break, take a look at the traffic shortly, and then we will look at those stories in greater detail.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Looks like this Friday, not many people want to leave the house because it's Friday the 13th, so the roads are okay up to now. Hakuna magari kwa barabara. Nyayo Stadium hapo, not Nyayo Stadium, Haile Selassie roundabout and Uhuru Highway interchange, that hapo iko shida kidogo. Of course, Wakulima Market is busy this morning, as is Landis junction into Ring Road and Haile Selassie Avenue, and also Haile Selassie Avenue at Railways headquarters and Moi Avenue roundabout. That is also busy. Roads within town are kind of busy, but then the others that lead into town, Kina Thika Superhighway, Kina Juja Road, Kina Wayaki Way, Kina Langata Road, and Kina Ngong Road and Valley Road, they are all smooth getting into town.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So Justice Mugambi is due to sentence the Deputy Inspector Acting IG of Police Gilbert Masengeli today for defying court orders 7 times to appear before the court. 7 times, okay? There's an interesting story here in The Nation today, which says, on July 24th, President Ruto met top officials of the National Police Service Commission at State House, Nairobi. The purpose of the visit by the Eliud Kinothia-led commission was to present to the President the results of the candidates who had been interviewed for the position of Deputy Inspector General of Police, Administration Police. When the commissioners arrived, the President was in a meeting with some senior government officials, also spotted in the corridors of State House. That day was one Gilbert Masengeli, who is the then commandant of the Administration Police Training College in Embakasi. Masengeli was among those who had been interviewed for the DIG post. After a brief meeting with the President, the commissioners handed over the names and marks scored by the top 3 interviewed candidates. Multiple sources familiar with the interviews and final results of each candidate say Masengeli and James Kamau emerged top. The sources who spoke on condition of anonymity said Masengeli and Kamau had each scored 85%. There was a tie. Okay? When reached for comment, of course, the chair of the NPSC, Kinothia, said he could not discuss how this scores, in the interviews. This is classified information that I cannot comment on, When he was asked whether on that day, when they went to meet the President on the 24th, whether that day they saw Masengeli, he said, no comment. Enter Hussein Mohammed. He's a State House spokesperson. He told the nation there was no meeting at State House, Nairobi on the 24th of July between the then acting DIG Gilbert Masengeli and the President. The President received the report from the Commission on the 23rd of July. Nation is reporting that the President received the report on the 24th of July. Hussein is saying, the President received this report on the 23rd of July. I categorically reiterate that the then acting DIG Masengeli did not meet the President, as you allege, before the report was submitted. But when the Nation informed him that the President received the report on the 24th of July as captured in a publication on the Commission's website, he acknowledged the error. Sorry. My mistake. 24th. After receiving the report, the President duly appointed Masengeli and Eliud Lagat as DIG Admin and DIG Police and the Kenya Police Service, respectively, on 25th of July. On 26th, they accompanied the National Police Service Commission to State House, Mombasa, for commissioning, marking the first time Masengeli met the President. This is what Hussein now says. Okay. Year 23rd, 24th was just my mix-up, It was 24th. Okay, so this is what happened. Let me now tell you. It's me now, show. 25th, the President appoints them. DIG Admin, DIG Police. 26th, they go to Mombasa. They are sworn in into office. Sawa. The National Police Service Commission is an independent constitutional institution with a clearly defined mandate. I cannot speak on their behalf, and any questions regarding the recruitment process should be directed to them. Hiyo ilikuwa July 24th. July 25th, a statement from the President through the head of public service, Felix Koskei, announced the appointment of Masengeli as DIG in charge of the AP and Mr. Lagat as DIG in charge of the Kenya Police. Masengeli was subsequently appointed acting police IG, pending the approval of Mr. Douglas Kanja by Parliament for appointment as the Inspector General. Kanja, an immediate former DIG, is set to replace Japheth Koome, who resigned. Prior to appointment as DIG in charge of AP service, one would not have easily picked out Masengeli. This is not the case anymore. His additional role as acting IG has thrust him further into the limelight. Masengeli has had a highly publicized run-in with a court for defying multiple orders with regard to 3 abducted men. He is due for sentencing today by the court, which has found him guilty of contempt of court. Judge Lawrence Mugambi had summoned Masengeli to explain to the whereabouts of the brothers and a friend who've been missing after they were allegedly taken by armed men believed to be police officers on the 19th of August. Sasa, hiyo story yote, hiyo rumors, the tea that they were serving Mushene from State House, it has ended, the nation story. Have you gotten what I'm saying?
Yes, I've gotten the story.
What's the Mushene here? What's the tea?
You could have There's what actually happened.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody tried to run interference and say actually it didn't happen. But the people who had said it happened in the first place knew. So they said, okay, fine, we've heard what you said, but take a look at this. So he took a look and said, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I don't know where my mind was. True. What I don't get, why is a straightforward matter like this suddenly getting to be so circumlocucious?
I mean, what's the issue?
That's the thing. I mean, you have an IG. There's an acting IG. Kanja is waiting for Parliament to approve.
She has been approved by Parliament.
So she's IG. So should I go happy?
Just the issue here is Masengeli. And
she is deputy IG.
What this story seems to be, trying to say is that you see, Masengeli and this other gentleman called who? James Kamau had tied in the interviews.
Draw.
Yes. The Police Service Commission went to the president and gave the 2, right? And said, these guys have tied. Of course, it's the president's prerogative to then choose one. Now, the inference here is that Masengeli had been seen in the corridors. So nikama Masengeli alikuwa ameongeleshwa, wewe, it's okay, when the names come here, I'm going to pick you. And this is what I expect you to do, ABCD.
Is that inference? But if you know anything about our politics, you may be called in to be told, this thing we're not giving you. Okay? So you just chill. We have other plans and we'll sort you out. But the truth of the matter is this, again, why is it suddenly becoming a cloak and dagger affair? Why? What's the play?
Yeah.
What is the play? Because if you look at that article, Eric, has the nation concluded?
No.
So they've left us hanging.
They've said that some sources close to the source said that Masengeli was there on that day.
Okay, fine.
Hussein Mohammed says there was no meeting at all.
Okay, so then what's the story?
They come up with nothing to show. Nothing else to say. Actually, records at the gate show that Masengeli was there. Or, records with the control of State House show that Masengeli was... Nothing. They come up with nothing to... So what's the story?
The thing is, a lot of dust has been raised. We understand the dust. But the dust settles at some point. So, okay. Then?
Tunaambiwa nini hapa?
No, then? Or is it one of these things where lots of expectations and then you realize, my friend, just remember the expectations. There really isn't anything you're going to be told beyond what has been inferred, what has been suggested. Na imeanza na imeisha. I want to tell you this story of the shame of globetrotting governors, MCAs, as counties splash 17 billion on travel. I am going to mention the counties, and I'm going to mention the travel purpose and the destination and the amounts. Okay? Nairobi Executive, 19 officers, proactive management program, and the destination was Morocco. They spent 37.23 million.
37 million?
Yes.
How many people?
19.
Okay.
Elgeyo Marakwet Assembly, 47 officers went. They went benchmarking to visit Yala, Tanzania. They spent 16.67 million. Kajiado Assembly, 27 officers training on legislative drafting. They went to Tanzania. They spent 7.8 million. Kakamega Executive, 1 to attend Lydiah community meeting in the US.
So the cabinet of Kakamega County...
There's one person.
One person? Sent one person?
Yes, to attend Lydiah community meeting in the US.
Okay.
1.3 5 million shilling was spent.
Okay.
Kilicho County, 8 people. The purpose was results-based performance conference. Okay, destination Singapore.
All right.
They spent 5.36 million.
All right.
Kirinyaga executive, 2. Invitation to accompany the president. Destination US, 1.38 million. Kisii Assembly, the 39. Okay. Purpose, payment to attend committee training in Uganda, 12.49 million. Kisumu Assembly, 6. Political empowerment and democracy. Destination Norway, spent 5.37 million. Kwale, officers 4, training Morocco. This Morocco, Eric must go to Morocco. There's some training me I'm seeing. There's training that's happening in Morocco, which is something else. 2.38 million. Laikipia Assembly, 28 training. Where? Tanzania also, 20.7 million Kenya shillings. Now the whole story is on page 6. I'm not going to go into the details of it. I'm just going to ask a very simple question. I mean, so why did we even begin the discussion about belt tightening? Why did we even start that story? But let me give you an answer to the question I've asked. Well, it tells me the story of exactly what it is that we can expect going forward from our political leadership. They will say one thing and do exactly what they like.
Completely.
Yes, if they think it sounds good, let's inaugurate this, let's start this. We propose that this will happen, and then they proceed to do exactly what they want. This same money, this 17 billion, this same money is money that should have gone for capitation. This is money that should...
Or even if we just keep it within the county, it's money that could have done a lot in agriculture, in health, in early childhood, in service provision. It's a lot of money.
You know, my friend, and when you look at the individuals who are involved, the question you want to ask is, everything that they've said here, it couldn't have been done in Kenya.
What's the value? Okay, so what's the return from this 17 billion shilling investment?
That is a question we've been asking for over the last 10 years since the existence of the county government, and that is something that no one is ever going to give you a straightforward answer. Something where someone tells you, this is what we did, and this is the results that we got as a result of it.
My friend, there's a gentleman who's called Bonnie Mwangi. Bonnie Mwangi is a Kenyan who works and lives in Texas, USA. He has made it his mission to pore through all the reports by the Auditor General on the control of budgets, county by county. And he looks at it and analyzes. So this is his expenditure. This is what we are seeing. This is what it means. My friend, if you look at his regular updates, you will feel something. For example, there's a post that he has done. Is it today? I just want to look at some of these ones, very simple ones. This is I want to look at the latest one.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
we have time. Take a minute.
Okay, so here is one, for example. Let me just read you this. Bonnie Mwangi yesterday. I want all Kenyans to know that we cannot get out of our current economic mess without demanding accountability from those who have stolen from us. You can follow him on X at Mwangi Bonnie, and Bonnie is BONNIE. You and I are holding a bag with one thing in it, almost 11 trillion shillings in debt. You and I are stuck with that debt. Almost 9 trillion shillings was accumulated in the last 10 years. For those now accounting, there is an important concept of accounting that's referred to as double entry accounting. What it means is if I borrow 9 billion shillings to acquire or build assets, I would debit, that is increase assets by the value of the assets, and credit the liabilities because I'm increasing my debt by the value of the assets. The net result is that the balance sheet balances, right?
In paperwork.
In our case as a country, our accounting is out whack because although we have credited liabilities of 9 trillion shillings, we have not really increased our wealth, that's our assets as a country. But the same amount individuals have, not us. Because of that, your son who's been admitted to university or some other institution may never graduate because the money that was supposed to be used to support him is paying interest for money taken out by our politicians and paid out to their criminal associates on contracts such as those involving sports stadiums like the ones you see in attachments. And he adds the photos. In the last 10 years, our country took almost 9 trillion in debt, and the funds were spent on the kind of garbage you see on those pictures. These are those incomplete stadia. Kirubia Stadia, 274 million shillings spent. Primary school in Tharaka-Nithi, Igumo, where, he's comparing. He's going to Tharaka-Nithi, where there is a stadium, Kirubia Stadium, 278 million shillings spent. And then he's looking at a primary school in Tharaka-Nithi, in a place called Igumo, where the children are sitting outside. The class is Mad World. Then he goes to Kipchoge Stadium, 695 million shillings spent. Stadium is incomplete. Huh? He goes to Nandi County and looks at Nyeri Primary, where the class is Mad World and the blackboard is the size of one ruler. Okay? He then also looks at Water Stadium, where 299 million shillings has been spent. Stadium is still incomplete. And then he goes to Unoa Primary School in Makueni, which has similar. He look at the quality of school, classroom, and says, now, we borrowed 9 trillion shillings. Our education is still in tatters. The stadia that were to be built are not built. But we have a debt of 11 trillion shillings to pay. Look at that now. We spent 19 billion shillings so that our governors and MCAs can travel for capacity building and meetings. Okay? What is the value that we get? If we call that a liability, on this other side of assets, what are we putting so that this balance sheet can balance?
All this benchmarking and all, whatever it is they want to call them, attending whatever cultural, ethnic festival. There is, I read the Bible. And there are times I read of some people who used to do some really, really weird things, and you wonder, is it really possible for people to sink to this level? Chief, we have arrived there. Because when you have a situation where people who have sworn before the Almighty God to look after the interests of citizens blatantly do the complete opposite, repeatedly, without shame, without care, without concern. Meaning, all these cries of people within the country crying for money that is rightfully theirs, and which has been very studiously siphoned and removed and taken to activities which ostensibly and in theory are supposed to benefit them, but we never actually ever see the benefit. Let me tell you, I'm looking at the Business Daily. I'm looking at the Star. I'm looking at the page that I was looking at the story. Employers clinging to 2.6 billion workers' SACCO deductions. KPA put to task of 1.4 billion waivers of given to importers. Okay? My friend, it is one horrible story after another, after another, after another. Operations paralyzed at Moi University as boycotting staff digging. It's about money. So is there anything else? Here is how new university funding model operates. Student-centered formula prioritizes learners from poor families. Widen support options include scholarships. Students are saying, Apana, this is not making sense to them. Why is it? You look at our paper, my friend, there are very few encouraging stories. You're looking at one problem after another. Page 7, Senate turns Chirchir away over missing Adani papers. Okay? Roads and Transport, CS Davis Chirchir faced intense questioning from a Senate team after failing to provide documents related to controversial Adani lease deal. Chirchir had declined to comment on the matter, citing it as sub judice, which did not sit well with the senators. The Senate Transport Committee members, led by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, demanded clarity on why the Kenya Airports Authority had entered a deal with Adani Commercial Limited to lease Jomo Kenyatta International Airport under build and operate lease. I also want you to address a preliminary concern that I have personally. If a letter dispatched from the Senate on August 6, 2024, pursuant to a request duly dated 25th, 2024, and you confirm that you received it on August 6th, 2024 at your ministry, how is it possible that even today you don't have any of the documents that we have requested?
I mean, why? This is, Parliament is the people of Kenya.
It is the people of Kenya.
Okay?
It is.
And this is a minister who says, I cannot give the people of Kenya documents because there's a matter in court. Why not?
This matter was asked a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, why can't you share those documents?
What is the reason?
Because there's a matter in court. What in the court case bars you from publishing information?
They're asking. See, there's like a deal. Just give us the documentation. That's it. That's all they've asked. They haven't told you to comment on it.
Yes.
They haven't told you to analyze it. You've said give us the documents.
Yes.
That's it.
See, they give the striking workers the documents.
Yeah.
If they can give the striking workers documents, why can't they give Parliament the documents?
And what documents did they give the striking workers?
That's the thing. You see, as the story continues, now the issue of power and transmission has been a big issue here. We have had several interviews with the MD of Kenya Power, right?
We have.
And he has sat here. This guy has worked in Kenya Power and he has worked at Ketraco. And he has worked in the power sector for many years.
He understands the power sector.
He understands the power sector. One of the things that he has told us many times here is we have an unstable grid.
Yes, he did.
Our unstable grid is because it is not expansive enough. We only have like one line that goes, serves Nairobi.
Kabisa.
If that one line is affected, Nairobi goes. We need to have multiple lines that serve multiple areas.
Yes.
We need to expand how we can do that with the power transmission lines. If power transmission is made better, I as KPLC will have a stable grid and I'll be able to supply better.
Precisely.
He has said that.
And the load shedding that complicates masters will also be reduced significantly.
We'll sort out many of the things.
Yes.
Because on the side of generation will be sorted, and then the side of transmission will be sorted, and the side of distribution will also be sorted. Okay? And he said, in fact, he hinted it here, and we never really picked it up. He said, maybe one of the ways of going through making sure that we can do this is because Ketraco is government funded, and the government does not have the money to immediately inject this into power transmission. Look at how long it's taking just to do the Muhoroni line, right? Maybe PPP is the way to go.
He suggested it.
Maybe PPP is the way to go.
Yes.
Have PPP where a private investor comes, puts up the transmission lines. We, as Kenya Power, pay the transmission for transmission. Okay? Yeah. Kumbe, that conversation left this studio and went into the boardrooms. And Ketraco and all. There's a company, an Adani as a company, that has actually had those conversations with the government, and they've been awarded 117 billion shilling deal to construct 371 kilometers of transmission lines, 5 substations in eastern and western Kenya as part of PPP to stabilize the what? The grid. See the justification we've had, and it makes sense.
Yes.
Adani has been given this deal. Apparently, the deal was approved by the National Treasury. The issue here that is emerging is that nobody had heard of it throughout the conversations until after. Last week, when there was that Kapawa blackout, Energy CS, Wandai.
Energy CS.
Energy is now Wandai.
No, this guy is transport.
Chirchir left that deal with Adani there on that side. Now he's on the other side with the Adani deal on the airport. Okay, Chirchir
was energy.
Now he's transport.
And Adani are in transport.
And in energy.
But Adani is also in energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we together now?
Yes.
So Wandai told us that, in fact, we have already approved. There's a company that's going to start doing the transmission lines. This will stabilize. Ai mambo ya Nyeri na Kanyanga line, stima inapotea Kenya mzima, will be a thing of the past. Sawa.
And
the question always comes, why can't you just come out transparently from the get-go and say we are doing this and the other?
Remember when we talked about the printing of new notes?
Yes.
Or many more.
German companies.
It was first of all vague. Then we were told who the German company was. And then it emerged that actually the one we're shutting down, we own 30%. So you're saying, wait, just explain to us. They do the same thing as these guys. We have interest. So what happened to our interest? They also shut down.
Yeah.
Now we're going the same route.
Those are the same questions. Let's do the news first.
Please, let's do it.
Okay. 7 a.m. news time.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Now, as the investigations into last week's fire tragedy at the Hillside and Asha Academy continues, a number of young people protested outside the school, now led by Kasmuel Makori. They demanded justice for the victims of the tragedy.
No school! No kids! 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 No school!
We are working on a national closure ya all. Na hii haihusiani na KUPPET, haihusiani na TSC, sisi wa Kenya.
Very true.
Hakuna mtoto mwenye ataenda shule mpaka watoto wote wa Endarasha wapatikane. At all.
We want our kids, we want accountability, we want answers.
Meanwhile, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has dismissed widespread claims that a number of boys are yet to be accounted for following the tragedy. Meanwhile, 48 MPs drawn from the Mount Kenya region and its diaspora have declared Kindiki their leader, expressing frustration over the lack of a clear focal point to channel their development concerns and priorities to the national government.
Out of the boys who were supposed to be in that dormitory, the 164, 143 are alive. And out of the 143, 140 are with their parents. 3 are still receiving treatments. And we believe they will be released to their parents as soon as they are certified, fully recovered by the doctors. And therefore, fatalities, 21 children unfortunately perished in that fire. Any other person trying to play whatever game, trying to advance some whatever other statistics is a heartless criminal and an enemy of the society.
Now, 1 million people are in urgent need of food aid due to drought, but delayed disbursement of funds from the National Treasury now compounds the hunger crisis in the country. That's according to the State Department of ASOL and Regional Development PS, Hassan Makello. The PS says another 500,000 people who are affected by the recent floods in the country still rely on the government's cash transfer program.
There are some delays in Treasury disbursing some funds, but I want to assure you that those who have been benefiting from cash transfer and are in our register will continue getting cumulative amounts which have been skipped because of delayed budgetary allocations from Treasury. We are giving cash transfer to more than 400,000 beneficiaries, amounting to Kenya shillings 4.5 billion Kenya shillings in 8 counties. The total relief supplies beneficiaries of drought and previous effects of floods now total to about 1.5 million Kenyans.
The previous story, and 48 MPs drawn from the Mount Kenya region and its diaspora have declared Kindiki their lead, expressing frustration over the lack of a clear focal point to channel their development concerns and priorities to the national government. Apparently, this is seemingly a coup against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who has been working to consolidate the region behind him.
To the national government to be the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Professor Kithure Kindiki, whose responsibilities in the executive includes the coordination of national government functions across the country. Our attempts to call the region to the orderly prioritization of the development needs of the people has been frustrated by condescending threats of dire political consequences unless we support certain personal interests and ambitions. Yet, time is of the essence, given that we are already under 3 years to the end of the first term of this administration.
But the National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF, lost 21 billion shillings to a fraudulent scheme operated by unknown individuals. This is according to a petitioner. Now, Bernard Mushere told the National Assembly Public Petitions Committee that false claims were made through a mechanism called in-card, but not reported claims, which insurance companies use as a reserve account to set aside funds for unreported claims. He said NHIF abused this system by making engineering claims that were outdated, raising no suspicion from auditors or the public. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
I'm telling you, Friday the 13th, people do not want to get out of their homes. Ama hii hata Google imepigwa na Friday the 13th because Google is not showing me much. Anyway, this is what's happening on our roads this morning. Nothing much. Thika Superhighway is clear, but there's traffic all the way from Githurai Clearworks. That's near past KU, coming towards Garden City. Hii ni kubwa bwana. It's a very big one. And then after Garden City, it clears. So there must be an accident around Garden City area. This is before you get to Allsops. Because after that, it clears all the way. So that means that Kiambu Road, because there's no traffic on the Thika Superhighway, Kiambu Road is clear. And it means that Muthaiga is clear. It also means that when you get towards town, Murang'a Road and all the other roads are going to be clear. Westlands into town is okay. Mombasa Road into town is okay. Until you get to Bunyala, where you just find slight traffic. And then over the Railways Bridge, there's kind of traffic. Ngong Road into town is okay. Langata Road into town is okay. North Airport Road into town is okay. Today, mambo si mbaya sana. We'll find out what's happening on Thika Superhighway. Hapo near Tusker, the area formerly known as Tusker. We'll tell you shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
My friend, why wait when you can loop it? We've been talking about this loop, and people are wondering, okay, so what is loop? We are here with the answers, okay? Here with the answers. Now, imagine you want to do your banking transactions, and you don't want to go to the bank. Okay, that is one. There are very many solutions to that. Imagine you want to pay people, and you want to access your bank account and pay the people. That is very, very easy, right? Now, also imagine you have some immediate cash needs for your business and you'd like an overdraft facility up to 100,000 shillings. Problem, right? Imagine you'd like a personal loan or a loan of up to 3 million shillings and you'd like to borrow easily without having to go to a Shylock. Okay? Imagine you're running a business and you'd like all these services and also access to a wider market where people can see your goods and services and transact with you and get in touch with you. Imagine all that. Imagine all those things put together into one app. That app no longer becomes an app. It becomes a lifestyle. So in your city,
given that it caters to any need you may have, and it involves cash money,
yes,
to meet these needs,
yes,
surely lifestyle is part of your life. That's why it's called lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Okay,
it's a lifestyle.
Whether you're sorting out a loan, whether you're expanding your business, whether you're simply continuing with your business, it is part of your life.
Kabisa.
Yes.
And that's why NCB have said, okay, this is it. Ours is not an app. Loop is a lifestyle. Go ahead and download Loop today. Go to Play Store or App Store, download Loop, sign up. If you have an account with NCBA, you just put your details. If you don't have an account, it basically just walks you through the journey of creating and opening an account. And thereafter, they give you a lot of support and information. You can even continuously, as you borrow, you are increasing your credit limit. You can borrow more, up to 100,000 shillings in overdraft facility, up to 3 million shillings in loan. My friend, this is the way to go. It is Loop. Why wait when you can loop it? Okay. Friday the 13th. Many people look at Friday the 13th and like, in fact, there's somebody who has said, I'm not leaving the house today. Me, I have experienced things on Friday the 13th before. I know I have experience with this date. I am not leaving the house. But our guest has left the house. And
has come here.
And he has come here and is in the studio. Dr. Kireki Omanwa is the president of the Kenya Obstetrical Gynecological Society. He's our guest for the Health Friday conversation. Daktari, good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana. You know, your other president, your colleague, the other president, is celebrating 2 years in office today. How many years have you been in office, Brother President?
3 years, going to 4 years.
Yeah.
Going to 4 years, yeah. Slightly longer than the other president.
Is there a term limit?
Yes, there is a term limit, 3 years, and then it can be renewable once. So 3 plus 3.
Oh, so you're serving a second term?
We are having elections next year. Yes.
You and the other guy can have a conversation.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Since you're both presidents.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
You're here today for our Health Friday conversation, which is about understanding postpartum hemorrhage and why it's a number one killer in women.
Correct.
Now, when you hear number one killer in women, you're like, okay, wait a minute. This is a big one. We want to hear about it. So first, let us hear the day's proverb from CT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the Federal Republic of Somalia.
Our neighbors.
Here. Horn of Africa.
Hapa tu.
Hapa tu Simbali. Yes. Hapa. Kismayu. Mefika. A beggar and a ruler know people best.
A beggar and a ruler know people best.
A beggar and a ruler know people best.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. Quite challenging, I would say.
I thought so too.
I would imagine a beggar, let's say somebody on Koinange Street or Moi Avenue, somebody who's been there for some time, and usually they have their own spots there, and they are sort of a repository of knowledge because of the people they see, the actions they see, what is happening, and sometimes even if there is danger, they are a lot easier. They say, usiende hapo, kuna shida. So I would think in that respect. When it comes to the leader, if you were to say that you have been in a position for some time, you know the going-ons of an institution, the people who are working there, you know the strengths and the weaknesses of the people there. So you have all this knowledge which you can apply either positively or also negatively. That's the way I would interpret today's proverb.
What do you think it's telling us?
Sorry?
What do you think the proverb is telling us?
What I think it's telling us is that knowledge is power. That once you have knowledge, you can be able to apply it, and you can be able to apply it positively or also negatively, unfortunately. And the beggar who is at the bottom of the pyramid and the leader who is at the top of the pyramid all have different types of information, and this information, this knowledge can actually be used positively or negatively.
Oh, fantastic. That's a good one. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
I have some knowledge. Let me give you the power. Now imagine 2,000 shillings.
Yes.
Every month.
Yes.
Just pay 2,000 bob. Okay?
Yes.
To Safaricom. You get 17 GB of data.
I think that's fantastic.
You get 1,000 minutes talk time.
Do people know about this?
In a month.
Do people know about this?
Knowledge is power, Doctor.
Thank you.
2,000 SMSs. Yes?
I think we need to go into it as
and WhatsApp
the icing
free.
Yes.
WhatsApp free.
Yes.
You access WhatsApp free.
Wow.
So
I
17 GB of data. You get all those minutes of talk time. You get all those number of SMSs, and all you do is 2,000 shillings per month. That's what Safaricom have said. Let's consolidate all your issues and put them into one basket, and they call it the Safaricom all-in-one package.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me tell people how to access it. Dial *544#. That's *544#. It'll bring up an array of choices. Go to the Go Monthly one and then follow the prompts. Right? *544#. Go Monthly. Follow the prompts. Sign up. 2 Gs a month, and you have all this and peace of mind accompanying all that. Hi. Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
Now, let us also get more power now. Postpartum hemorrhage.
Yes.
What is that?
Thank you. That is a problem, a very big problem in this country. But maybe before even diving directly into it, I would take a step back. I would quote from the Bible. The writer of Psalms, David, I think it's Psalms 134 verse 19, says that I will praise you, O Lord, because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't know what he had looked at or what he had thought about to come to such a conclusion, but I'm sure when he looked at what had been going on in his life, he came to that conclusion. When we talk about PPH, that is postpartum hemorrhage, first of all, we need to understand a little bit about how the body of a woman behaves. If we look at the uterus is a tiny organ. Basically, when it's not carrying a baby, it's not gravid, it's about 120 grams only. Now, when a woman gets pregnant, this small organ grows to accommodate a baby, who on average can be anywhere between 3 kilos, 3.5 kilos. It accommodates the fluid that surrounds the baby. It accommodates the placenta, and so on. Now, it stretches from that 120 grams, and it reaches, several kilos. If you are to weigh all these, elements together. Normally, when a woman delivers, whether through cesarean section or whether vaginal delivery, once the baby has been delivered, there is what we call the placenta. And the placenta is what connects the woman and the baby through the cord, what we call the umbilical cord. That is why we have an umbilicus, because that is where the cord actually connected us to our mothers. Now, when this placenta comes out after delivery, there is a small amount of bleeding which occurs, which is absolutely physiological. It can be anywhere between 100, 150, 200 milliliters. That is normal delivery. In a cesarean section, it could be slightly more. 300, 400, maybe even up to 500 milliliters. That is acceptable. When we talk about postpartum hemorrhage, it is a situation whereby the baby has been born, the placenta sometimes has come out or has not come out completely, and there is bleeding. And this bleeding is over and above what we expect it to be. So in the vaginal delivery, 200 milliliters, you find this woman has bled 600 milliliters, sometimes even 1,000. She had lost about a liter of blood. Wow. In a cesarean section, instead of the 500 mils, she has bled also. She has lost a liter, 1.5 liters, or even sometimes more. And that is a big problem in this country.
Where does the blood come from?
Thank you. Remember the placenta.
Yeah.
And there is the baby.
Yep.
In order for this baby to get nutrition and to get oxygen, it has to pass through the placenta, from the mother's circulation, the placenta, the cord, to the baby.
Yeah.
And also some of the waste products also come that way in the reverse direction. Now, remember that the uterus has vessels. So these vessels is where the blood comes from. So they're intertwined and they pass through and they give and they come where the placenta is attached. That is where those vessels are. Now, sometimes when a woman delivers, you find that after the placenta has come out, those vessels, normally the uterus is supposed to contract, and once it contracts, it seals those vessels which were open. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way because of different reasons. The reasons can be, for example, if the womb is overstretched, the uterus is overstretched. And what can cause that overstretching? Number one, you may have, for example, an excessive amount of amniotic fluid, what you call polyhydramnios, for different reasons. You may have the baby has some problems either with the digestive system or even with the urinary tract system. So you find that circulation is sort of hampered, and there's an excessive fluid accumulation in the uterus. You may find that the baby,
and this is during pregnancy.
During pregnancy. You may find that the baby is big. What do we mean by big? The other time I was on call in KNH, and we had a patient who had 3 or 4 babies, and all of them were 4.5 kilos, 4.7 kilos, and even a 6 kilo baby she had delivered in the past. So that uterus is overstretched such that even the normal mechanism of it contracting is sort of shortchanged, and it doesn't happen. So what happens is when it's stretched like that, remember those vessels that I talked about? They are not sealed, so they continue bleeding into what you call the cavity where the baby was. You may have a woman may have fibroids, for example, and these fibroids.
What are fibroids?
What are fibroids? Thank you. Now, a fibroid is basically a growth on the womb, and unfortunately 30 to almost 60% of women of African origin will have fibroids somewhere in their reproductive age, and these fibroids can be very tiny, or they can also be very big. It can be one fibroid, or they can be several of them. So, for example, my friend did surgery and wrote an article, and he said his was 140, meaning he had removed 140 fibroids from a patient and managed to save the womb. So, when these fibroids are there, that contracting mechanism also is hampered. And even the process of having natural delivery, because natural delivery is basically driven by contractions on the uterus. So if there is something that is impeding these contractions from happening, it will lead to either the woman may not deliver, or after delivery the contractions will not happen and the vessels will not be sealed. This will lead to postpartum hemorrhage.
How common is it? And two-pronged question.
Yes.
And in what age group is it common? And what are the other variables that contribute to it?
Thank you. Now, maybe I'll start with, let me start with the first question. How common it is? Very, very common, unfortunately. We look at what is called maternal mortality rates. What does this mean? It means that when we look at the number of women who die when they are pregnant, during delivery, or 6 weeks post-delivery, and our numbers are not good, unfortunately. The government official figures say that our maternal mortality rates are about 355 women out of every 100,000 women who deliver. So if we were to say that, just for the sake of discussion, that we have 1 million deliveries in a year, it means that 3,550 women will die. It's huge.
Yes.
Now, that is what the government is telling us. But when you look at...
Because we know by statistics, we actually have around that, 1 million deliveries a year.
Actually, it's about 1.6 million.
Okay.
Now, Uganda has 2 million deliveries. Now, if... when you look at other international organizations, they say that our maternal mortality rates are a lot higher than the 355. What UNICEF is telling us, what UNFPA is telling us, WHO, is actually approximating that our maternal mortality rates are about 550 out of every 100,000 women.
Where are they getting their figures from?
I think they have their way of collecting data, because these are NGOs and they have their people in different areas, even in very far-flung areas where they collect this data. We have a sort of a challenge with data collection on our side, on the government side, because you find that some of these deaths occur either in private facilities, faith-based organizations, or even private facilities, and they are not reported. So we think that there is a gross underreporting of our maternal mortality rates. And this puts Kenya not in a very good light, because when you look at every time we go for a conference or, we meet to discuss what is happening in the world in terms of maternal health, of course, they always say sub-Saharan Africa. Everything sub-Saharan Africa. And when you look at maternal mortality rates in sub-Saharan Africa, number one is Southern Sudan, which has about 1,000, is it 1,200 or 1,600 out of every 100,000. Chad has, I think, 1,067. Nigeria has about 1,043. What do you call Central African Republic, about 800 and something. So we are there. But when you look at other countries, of course, there are countries where maternal mortality rates are actually either very low or not there. It's countries like Luxembourg, Slovenia, and so on. Poland has a maternal mortality rate of 2. Belarus has a maternal mortality of 1. The US is about 21. When it increased to around 23, there was a huge outcry, and their society actually started to find out what is exactly happening. And when they did their research, they found out that actually their numbers were increasing in those states whereby Wisconsin, Wyoming, where their access to rural healthcare was also very, very poor. Yes, the UK, for example, has about 10, 15, and so on. So in European countries, the maternal mortality rate is very, very low. And unfortunately, in our African countries, sub-Saharan Africa, the numbers are very, very high.
And you're saying that PPH is one of the biggest contributors to maternal mortality in Kenya?
It is actually what you call the big five. They are big five, and it's one of the big five, and it's actually number 1. The big five are PPH, that is postpartum hemorrhage. Then we also have preeclampsia, and preeclampsia is basically when blood pressure in a patient goes high while she's pregnant. Meanwhile, when she was not pregnant, the blood pressure was okay. So that is preeclampsia. That is number 2. Number 3, we have sepsis as well. Unfortunately, we have post-abortion complications, and then lastly we have obstructed labor as the big 5 in this part of the world, and especially in Kenya.
If we look at the numbers, so 355 out of 100,000 births, or according to these other agencies, about upwards of 400.
Correct.
So let's pick a figure for purposes of this conversation. What do you want us to deal with?
Let's take 355. That's the official number.
So the 355. So 3,555 out of every million births.
Out of every 100,000.
Out of
3,000.
Out of
every
3,000 is out of now a million.
A million, correct,
right?
correct. Sorry.
And
yes,
if we are having about 1.6 million births a year,
yes,
that means that we are losing about 4,000 women,
correct,
at childbirth,
correct,
every year. And the number 1 contributor is postpartum hemorrhage,
which accounts for about 40 to 45% of those figures.
And the reasons that you gave us that postpartum hemorrhage happens are uterus is overstretched, a big baby.
Yes.
What are the reasons?
They can also be because of bleeding, because of tears.
Okay.
The baby has been born, and then in the cervix, because the cervix is basically the entrance into the womb, you find there are tears which are not recognized. And
these things can be detected by medics during pregnancy.
After delivery, because you're talking about delivery now. Postpartum hemorrhage. Yeah.
If the uterus is overstretched,
yes,
can this be detected before birth?
Yes, it can.
If the baby is big, can it be detected?
Yes, it can.
So then we can know that we expect to have a situation here, and how to handle the situation.
What we call risk factors
at delivery.
Correct. If you have 2 babies, a woman is carrying 2 babies or more, that is also a huge risk factor. If the patient had bleeding, postpartum hemorrhage in previous pregnancy, that is a risk factor. If she had preeclampsia, that is also can be a risk factor, and so on. So we can actually sort of stratify and sort of have a risk factor. This patient has come. This is the first time she has come to the clinic, and this is her history. So going forward, there is a high likelihood that this patient is a candidate for postpartum hemorrhage. You asked about what age brackets does this also take place. We also see this in younger women. Like now, for example, Kenya has one of the highest adolescent pregnancy rates in the world. And remember, when this young lady gets pregnant, it is basically a baby, a child.
Carrying a child.
And the body is not yet accustomed, is not ready for this. So you find that they have a lot of problem delivering naturally. And if when they deliver, most of the time by cesarean section, they end up having postpartum hemorrhage, sometimes even preeclampsia. The older patients as well, using older is not a very good term.
If you're older, you are older. Okay, so I am old, so I understand now.
It's older than teenagers.
Older than teenagers. Yes.
No, I think it's referring to people who are perhaps beyond 40,
beyond 35, 35,
yes.
36.
Okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we also see there is a tendency for them also to have these complications, postpartum hemorrhage. Now, it's not very clear, but what we think is that, number one, quite a number of them have gone through quite a bit of issues. They've tried to get pregnant, it has not worked, and when they do get pregnant, there's a high risk of preeclampsia, the pressure increasing. Even when you have sort of stabilized this pressure, and they go to deliver, you find they lose quite a bit of blood as well, and quite a number of them also undergo IVF treatment because of age, and IVF, we know, is a risk factor for these women carrying more than one baby, and that also is a risk factor for that. And then,
so you're saying older women who are giving birth for the first time?
For the first time, and even subsequent. Let's say, for example, she has delivered 5 times.
Yep.
And even if the babies were okay in the sense that 3 kilos, 3.5 kilos, and so on, we usually stratify that as a risk factor in itself, because remember the stretching of the uterus and so on. So what you call grand multiparas, they have delivered more than 3, 4, 5 times. They usually have a tendency of having postpartum hemorrhage.
Let's take that break at this point. It's 29 minutes to 8. Our Health Friday conversation this morning is on postpartum hemorrhage. Why it's number one killer of women in Kenya. Well, statistics are showing us that we are losing over 4,000 women every year at the point of giving birth. And the number one cause, with 40%, at about 40%, number one cause on this is this postpartum hemorrhage. Daktari Kireki Omanwa is the president of the Kenya Obstetrical Gynecological Society. He's here to educate us about this. Of course, now the next thing you want to tell us is how we can know about the risk factors and how we can reduce these deaths. Let's take this break. We'll be back shortly. Keep it here.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Kenyans abroad, sending money home should be simple and stress-free. Stay connected back home. Open your Credit Bank Nyumbani Diaspora account today by visiting www.creditbank.co.ke. Just a few clicks and you're all set to send love and support back to your loved ones. And that's not all. Explore a world of possibilities, including investment opportunities. It's fast, easy, and secure, bringing you closer to the moments that matter most. Visit creditbank.co.ke or call +254 70 907 2000 to learn more. Credit Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Yeah, it's warming up in Nairobi, but it's still quite cold. It's 13 degrees at present, and it's going to rise to 26 later and lows of 12. It's warming up in Mombasa, sunny at 23. Malindi is sunny at 25. Kisumu City is sunny at 22. Eldoret City is sunny at 14. Nakuru City, sunny at 14 as well. Nyeri Town, mostly sunny at 13. Kakamega, partly sunny at 17. Kampala, mostly cloudy day today, currently at 18. Lagos, partly cloudy at 25. Johannesburg, partly sunny at 29. Kinshasa, mostly clear skies at 22. Mogadishu is sunny at 26. Addis Ababa is sunny at 14. Dar es Salaam, sunny at 21. Paris, partly cloudy at 7. The same temperatures in London, partly cloudy as well. Clear skies tonight in New York at 19, highs of 26 later, and Beijing 27 degrees and partly sunny, highs of 28, lows of 19.
Chilled Spice.
So there's been a very, very big and serious issue that's happening on Thika Superhighway. This is past Garden City, just around Garden City, heading towards town. Excuse me. Report of a very, very bad accident that then has caused traffic, and the traffic stretches all the way past Clayworks, all the way to Adani. This is how far back it goes. Well, not past Clearworks, it's all the way to Adani. That's around the barracks there. So that traffic comes from Adani into Githurai all the way to the Garden City area and Garden Estate. And then after that, it clears. So Thika Superhighway will be clear into Survey, into Utalii Hotel. That means also that Kiambu Road this morning, because it's not getting a lot of traffic from Thika Superhighway, Kiambu Road is okay. Outer Ring Road getting into Thika Superhighway is busy, but thereafter it's all right. This is Kangundo Road coming towards Outer Ring Road. It's very, very busy as you leave Outer Ring Road. This is at Umoja 1 area. And then how do we see Jogoo Road? Jogoo Road is busy as you approach City Stadium roundabout and into Landis Road. It's also busy. Mombasa Road heading in towards town is clear only when you get to Nyayo Stadium roundabout, and then you get to Bunyala roundabout, which also affects the Douglas Wakaihori Road. Langata Road is okay. Ngong Road coming towards town is okay. And Wayaki Way heading in towards town is also all right.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.
Our Health Friday conversation continues. Postpartum hemorrhage, one of the leading killers of women. No, actually, Dr. Isa is the number one killer of women in the country.
Correct.
These are very, 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 very high numbers that we are talking about. But the risk factors are known. And the risk factors can be detected early during antenatal visits. The risk factors, therefore, can inform the health workers what to do to save these lives. Okay, so where is the gap?
I think the gap is huge. Maybe I can illustrate this by a small story. And this is something which happened to me not too long ago in one of the private hospitals. I had finished a procedure I was doing, and I was going to change and go and do other things. And then one of my colleagues met me in the corridor, and she was shouting. He said, "There's horrible PPH, come to theatre," I think theatre 3 or theatre 4. Right. So obviously that is an emergency. And I ran to that theatre with my colleague, an anesthetist. And when I reached there, I found my colleague struggling. And when I asked, a quick history of the patient, said this was a young lady, 31 years old, who had come at term, that is at 40 weeks, and she had delivered a beautiful baby girl. And soon after that, she had started bleeding with nothing really was the cause. So, and she had struggled with this patient. And I said, okay, can I have a look? And said, there's a way that, a certain way which we are programmed to think when in such situations. Did she have any tears in the vagina? No, there were no tears. Just a small whatever, and she had put one stitch and there was nothing there. The cervix was okay, there were no tears, but believe me, she was bleeding like a tap. Wow. She would put what is called an abdominal pack, what we normally use for surgery, just to try and stop the blood from flowing. And after 2 minutes, it would be completely, soaked. So, as we are doing this, I asked the anesthetist, have you given medication? Said, yes, I've given 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are medications which you normally give in such a situation. And so I asked my colleague, can I have a look, fresh eyes? So, and I looked, checked the vagina, checked the cervix, everything is okay. The uterus is contracted, but she's pouring. So when I put my hand inside the vagina, I felt that at the back of the uterus, there was a structure there. So my thinking was that possibly there could have been a fibroid, or there was a fibroid, and the placenta had been lying on the fibroid. So when the placenta came out, the vessels which were on the fibroid could not constrict, could not be blocked. So she was basically bleeding from there. So in such a situation, there are things which you think about and you want them to be done in a certain way. So I asked, do you have what we call a uterine balloon tamponade, which I have here. If you allow me, I can show it to you.
Please do. Please.
Yes, this is what you call a uterine balloon tamponade. It's a very simple contraption, I would say. This bit here goes into the womb, and in this bag we add fluid. We open here, and we pour fluid, about a liter of it, and then we hang it about a meter and a half above the patient. And what will happen is that
how long is that thing that you're holding?
This is about, maybe, I would say about 2 meters, maybe.
Okay.
I would say, yeah. So the idea is basically this plastic material that is here, when it goes into the womb, and we pour fluid, because now fluid will be going down into this, it will expand, and as it expands, it will block the vessels from bleeding. So I asked, do we have a UBT? No, there's no UBT. So what do we do? In the meantime, the blood pressure of this patient is actually dropping, and you can hear it on the anesthetic machine. I said, okay, get me a catheter. A catheter is basically a small tube which we normally use in the bladder when we are doing surgery, and we take this and insert it inside the bladder.
Okay.
So the idea of using the catheter, the principle is basically the same as this one. The only thing is that with the catheter, we need to put something here which will be similar to this plastic material here. And what we normally use is a simple condom. This is poor medicine for poor people because it is not used anymore.
So on one end of the catheter, it goes into
this one will go in. We have a condom, and do you mind if I open the condom?
No.
Yes. So we'd open the condom, and we would attach it now to the end of the catheter.
Okay.
And then we would actually take a suture and then tie it around here.
What is a suture?
A suture is basically, let's say, a thread. All right?
Okay.
What we use for surgery. So I would use this, and I would tie the condom on one end such that there is no fluid which is going to be lost. Okay? There will be no leakage. Once I've confirmed that it is tight, then I would use a small instrument and insert this inside the womb. Once I've done that, I would now pour fluid through an opening here. And that fluid can be about 200, 300 milliliters of what we call normal saline. Any fluid can actually do in emergencies. So what will happen is that this condom will swell.
Yep.
And that is, as it swells, it will block the vessels which were bleeding. So I asked in theater at that time, do we have a catheter? Yes, there was a catheter. Meanwhile, remember, this patient is still bleeding. Can I get a condom? And there was no condom.
There's no condom in the hospital?
In theater.
In theater. Okay.
In the hospital, for that matter.
Okay.
So after a few minutes, meanwhile we are struggling to control this bleeding.
It's minute by minute.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So anyway, one of the nurses strolled out and came back with a condom and said, "Excuse me, I wanted to say something. I got a condom, but I want to say that it was not in my handbag." We say we don't care where it was.
This is not the time for that conversation.
We don't care. Just give it to us. Just give it to us. No. So when we fashioned this is basically a uterine balloon tamponade, just like the one that I showed you, and we inserted it inside the womb, and we pushed in fluid, about 250 milliliters. The bleeding stopped.
It blocked the vessels?
It blocked the bleeding, and it stopped.
Okay.
We put in another abdominal pack just to make sure that everything is okay. And after it stopped, this patient was transferred to ICU. It was on a Friday. When she came to hospital, what we call her HB, that is the amount of blood that she had, was 11 grams per deciliter. The normal is between 11 to 13 to 15, depending on what lab you're using. When she went to ICU, we checked, because we do that before we give blood. Her HB was 3.1.
Wow.
Yes.
She had lost that amount of blood.
She had lost about 2 liters of blood. So in essence, she was on her way out. A healthy young lady delivered a healthy baby, came into hospital walking. Potentially she could have gone out in a casket, in a box. She went to ICU over the weekend. She was given blood. She was given medications. On Monday, she was as bright as day. She went home with her baby. What saved that woman?
Hold on, Dr. Ari.
Yes.
At what point was this thing removed?
24 hours afterwards.
So you just
we just insert it, and once we assure now the uterus is well contracted, there is no more bleeding. We just remove the fluid, and once the fluid has come out, the condom will collapse, and then we just remove it out.
How do you know that the uterus
has contracted?
Has contracted. Yes. By checking, by just massaging the abdomen, we can actually feel that it is hard. And we know that it is well contracted. Because when it's not well contracted, it's soft and it's boggy. And then apart from that, we know the size of the uterus as well. Because we know after delivery, it should be around, let's say, 18, 20 weeks. But if it's 28 weeks, 25 weeks, and it's after delivery, something is not okay. The uterus is not contracting properly.
There was a mention of fibroids, or the possibility of fibroids existing.
Yes.
Did you confirm that indeed there were fibroids? And if so, what was done?
It was my theory, because we would have had to do a scan. But at that moment, what you need to do
was to stop
the bleeding. Yeah, that is the most important thing.
So, what would one do in such cases? She's gone home.
Yes.
Would she then be asked to come back so that she can have other tests to determine what it is the problem was? Because if she's young and she wants to have other children, what then happens if you have a repeat performance?
Now, immediately what happened, maybe I can go back a little bit before I answer your question about what are the issues.
Yeah.
And I use this as a prime example. And it is something which happens to, or can happen to, any of my colleagues who is practicing obstetrics, whether it is in the private sector or in the public sector or in the faith-based or whatever it is. This is something that can happen to anyone. That is why we need people who are experienced, people who know what to do, and people who will not lose their heads when they see so much happening at the same time. Because remember, here you are listening to what the anesthetic machine is telling you, and here you are trying to find out what the problem is and solving it at the same time. And time is of the essence. Several things actually helps us to save this woman. Number one, we were 3 consultants. There were 2 obstetricians and an anesthetist, very experienced, and we knew what to do and where to do it. Number 2, there were medications, quality medications. A study was done not very long ago, actually by a group of my colleagues from the university, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and this was a study done in Kenya, I think it was Tanzania, and Nigeria and another country, where they looked at over 240,000 pregnant women who delivered. And they also looked at the quality of the medications that these women were getting. And unfortunately, it's very sad to say that in Kenya, some of the medications they were getting, and it was a random sampling, was actually poor quality medication. What do I mean by that? It means that medication X, which says it should have a certain chemical of certain strength, 10 units, 10 milligrams or whatever it is, it was found that it was not actually true.
It had more or less.
It had less. So you find you are giving this medication and you are expecting the uterus to contract and it doesn't contract. And you give more and it doesn't contract. So you are wondering what is happening. So quality medications. We had quality medications. Number 3, we had blood. Blood is a problem in this country. We collect as a country 276,000 units of blood, which is about 60% of what the country needs. We need about 500,000 units of blood per year. And guess what? 70% of these 276,000 units are used by who? By women who are expectant, who bleed during delivery or after delivery. This hospital had an ICU which was well equipped, it was functional, and it had people who were trained to actually monitor these patients. Now, these are what you call pillars. And then, of course, there are consumables, where, of course, we got the condom and so on, and so on. So you have human resource, which are the doctors and the midwives as well who are working with us. We have medications, quality medications. We have blood. We have consumables. We have an ICU, which is functional. Unfortunately, in most of our hospitals, government hospitals, you may not find all these pillars, all of them at the same time. In one, you may find, yes, the consultants are there, but there is no blood. You may find the consultants are there is blood, there are no medications, there are stockouts. The consultants are there is medication, there is blood, there is no ICU. Or if there is an ICU, it's a caricature of an ICU. You have a building, but nothing more. Or you have a building which has machines, but you don't have people who can actually monitor these patients. So these 5 pillars, if any one of them is lacking, then unfortunately we are going to lose these patients. And most government hospitals, you will find that 1 or 2, or sometimes all of them are missing. And that is the tragedy that we are looking at. In the meantime, in the morning, I heard City saying there was how much? 17 billion, which was used for
17 billion. Governors and MCAs.
Just for people in the county,
they travelled here and there. Morocco, Singapore, Tanzania, Uganda.
Yeah, which is sad, unfortunately.
This is the thing. It's about the investment in healthcare.
Correct.
On all these aspects that you've said. We invest in training doctors, clinicians, nurses, and everyone.
Yes.
We invest in having the facilities and equipping the facilities.
Correct.
And making sure that everything is working.
I did a small sort of a study, call it a study. I asked my colleagues from the office, that is the COGS office, to call all referral hospitals, county and sub-county hospitals, 98 of them, just to find out how many of them have this, what you call the uterine balloon tamponade. First of all, about 42% of them declined to answer our question. It was a simple question. We are calling from COGS. This is the Kenyan Obstetrical and Gynecological Society. We just want to find out, do you have something called a uterine balloon tamponade? They said, first of all, who are you? This is a government hospital. We don't give information. And so on.
Ask the ministry.
Now, of the ones which did reply, I think there were about maybe 4 or 5 of them which actually had this in store. 4. Others had never heard about a UBT. So, and this is something which is
what percentage had never heard?
If you remove the 40% which said they cannot give information because it's government, so we are left with 60.
Yes.
Of the 60, I think about 4 or 5 of them had them stocked. I would say maybe about 20 or 25 of them had never heard about UBT.
Never heard
about UBT.
Kenneth Omondi is asking, ask Daktari, is the reproductive health division at the health ministry still functional?
It is functioning.
Where functioning means what exactly?
Where functioning is, I'm not holding forth for the reproductive health division.
Well, you said it is functioning.
I want to understand what there's an office.
Yes.
And there's a director.
But we do meet as COGS. They call us for meetings, and we are in technical working groups, and we've been working quite handily with them. I must say that they have done something which is very, very good. They have spearheaded the availability of one drug, which is called carbetocin, and this is available because I talked with one of the guys and they told me that they had imported, I think, 260,000 vials, which are available in KEMSA, and this drug is one of those basic requirements, basic treatments that we use in such cases of postpartum. So in that respect, that's why I'm saying it is functioning. They have done that, which I think is commendable. However, I think we can do a lot more.
There is data that indicates to you clearly regions where perhaps this condition we are speaking of is higher than others.
Correct.
Now, if we were to do a different survey and ask this very critical medication,
yes,
does it reach the places where it is most used? Because I'm asking the question from the point of view of the procurement processes. We understand, we are told about them, we tend to understand them.
Correct.
We're even told where the drugs are domiciled. But when you get to where it is needed, there always seems to be a problem. We even saw that with COVID.
Yes.
When we were being told that, yes, the vaccines have arrived, okay? They were even escorted. They're in this central place. But before they got the act right, places where they were needed, one did not find them. When you ask, you're told that they're there. You go, actually, we are there, and they're not there. So we don't understand. That's why I asked that previous question. Do these things get to where they're most needed?
I would say that sometimes, yes, they do. And sometimes they are stockouts. And then the procuring process also has an effect. So, yes, sometimes they're there. And unfortunately, most times they're not there. That is just one of the problems. We have counties whereby you have, let's say, 2 consultants in a county. 1, 2.
By consultants, we mean OBGYNs?
OBGYNs, 2 consultants in a county.
For the entire county?
For the entire county.
Right.
Yeah. So you remember I talked about human resource as one of the pillars. So if you have 2 consultants in a county, there is no way you are going to be able to actually save these mothers.
Can this knowledge, at least a bit of the knowledge, be transferred to the other doctors? The clinicians who are in hospital?
Yes, it can.
And I want to ask that question as I head back into risk factors are known. Risk factors can be detected early during the antenatal visits into hospital, right? If a woman who is expecting a baby is seen to have these risk factors, is there something that can be done to reduce the effect, to reduce the chances of them having PPH?
Yes, something can be done. And what are these things that can be done? Number one, I think the knowledge of that you are pregnant, because most people say being pregnant is not a disease. This knowledge should actually go out there. Say, when you're pregnant, please visit your doctor, your healthcare facility, and so on.
At least how many times during the pregnancy?
The WHO recommends 8 contacts. Some of them come without any contact at all.
Wow.
Some of them come without having even had a blood test done. And anemia, we know, is one of the risk factors as well of PPH. Some of them don't even know their blood group. So there are quite a number of things which can be done. But if they were to visit their healthcare facilities where we have midwives, we have doctors, and so on. These are things which can be picked up very, very easily. That is number one. So we identify these patients who are at high risk. Number 2, we need to retain them. What does that mean? We have identified that Madam Joyce has a problem, or Madam Joyce has a high risk of PPH. So how do we follow her through? What are her contacts? How can she be better followed? So the retention bit. And then the other one is, how do we respond to what we have? You say, okay, we've identified you've had 4 or 5 babies, and they have been big. So please make sure that you come, at given times for follow up. And then when it gets to the time when she's supposed to deliver, where is she supposed to deliver? These women are supposed to deliver in places whereby they have these pillars that I mentioned about.
So about a level 4, level 5.
Level 4, level 5. Just by doing that, we will have reduced a huge amount of these women who die because of falling through the cracks, and then they go to deliver. Sometimes they have home deliveries and so on. The uterus does not contract, the placenta does not come out, and so on. Birth attendants may not actually have an idea about the physiology and pathology of such women, so they think it's just a normal delivery, and then things go south. And when they go south, they really, really go south.
Do the medics know this?
Yes, they do. Actually, whenever our students rotate in our department, in obstetrics and gynecology, this is one of the things that we emphasize about, the big 5. And there is something that we are planning to do. We are planning to put sort of algorithms of what to do in these big five, such that when these medical students, interns basically, go out there, they have something like a booklet where if they see a patient, come into contact with a patient with preeclampsia, do 1, 2, 3, 4, stabilize the patient, refer. If there is postpartum hemorrhage, do 1, 2, 3, 4, stabilize. And if you're in a facility which cannot handle such a patient, then refer. But then there are also other issues. There are issues of infrastructure. Roads may not be okay. You can do all this, but you find that the infrastructure is not okay. Ambulances are not there, etc.
We have to properly invest in our healthcare, and there are no questions about it. Dr. thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite you for a run that we are organizing on the 6th of October. And this is basically to raise awareness about PPH. It's a short run from Ulinzi Complex all the way to Nairobi West and back.
How many kilometers are those?
That's about 8-10 kilometers only.
Okay. Are we allowed to walk?
We are allowed to walk. We are allowed to ride a bike. We are allowed to
just cover the distance.
6th
of October.
6th of October, and you can register at endpph.com.
endpph.com. And PPH is Postpartum hemorrhage, which is what Dr. Kireki Omanwa, who is the president of the Kenya Obstetrical and Gynecological Society, has been teaching us about this morning, understanding postpartum hemorrhage and why it's the number one killer of women in Kenya. Keep it here for more conversations. It's 8:01.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Nurses at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital have announced a strike to commence on September 30th. This is the first time an industrial action threatens to cripple services at the facility since it was opened in September 2020. The nurses complained they are understaffed, overworked, and that the hospital has failed to pay them uniform allowances, including arrears designated by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. The hospital is Kenya's third biggest national referral hospital. Now, a damning report released by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, says governors and MCAs blew 17.60 billion shillings on travel. The expenditures described by Nyakango in her expenditure report for the counties for the 2023-2024 financial year was wasteful, comprised 15.28 billion shillings on domestic travels and 2.32 billion shillings on foreign travels. The revelations come when counties face a cash crunch, with most devolved units yet to pay their workers for 3 months. Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lumurukai and the Johnson Sakaji of Nairobi spent more than 1 billion shillings each on travels. Turkana spent 1.19 billion shillings, with 943.44 million shillings spent on domestic and 248.98 million shillings on foreign travels. Now, Zipline, a global leader in autonomous drone logistics, has announced a partnership with Kericho County in the Rift Valley region to enhance access to medical supplies for over 200 healthcare facilities through the use of drones. This initiative, officially launched by Kericho County Governor Dr. Eric Mutai at Sigei Sub-County Hospital, is expected to improve healthcare access by providing timely delivery of essential supplies such as vaccines, blood products, anti-venom and anti-rabies treatment. Zipline, known for pioneering drone technology in healthcare, has transformed logistics since its inception in 2016, starting with blood deliveries in Rwanda. The company has completed over 1 million successful autonomous deliveries and now aims to replicate this success in Kericho, after already implementing the technology in Kisumu County. Now, detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have arrested Pascaline Peter, alias Pasiwa Trevor, who had been on the run after allegedly defrauding 350 million shillings from unsuspecting Kenyans under the guise of a real estate investment opportunity that turned out to be a Ponzi scheme. The 36-year-old suspect was arrested at a hideout in Kantafu, Machakos County, since she had been booked at Kasarani police station pending arraignment today. Police reports indicate that the self-proclaimed businesswoman managed and rented out people's money through a money laundering institution operated in violation of the Banking Act and without proper documentation. And the International Criminal Court has postponed in absentia hearing to confirm charges against fugitive Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony, saying a new date will be announced at a later date. Kony has been wanted by the Hague-based ICC since 2005 for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity, following a 3-decade reign of terror by the Lord's Resistance Army rebel group across several African nations. The ICC announced 5 months ago it would hold hearings in October to confirm 36 counts against Kony, whose current whereabouts remains unknown. Now, more than 260 female inmates were sexually assaulted during an attempted mass escape from Democratic Republic of Congo's Makala Central Prison this month. This is according to a UN report reviewed by Reuters. Now, at least 129 people were killed when prison guards used live fire against inmates trying to break free from the Kinshasa prison. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
A very bad accident inbound towards town this morning on Thika Superhighway near the Garden City, just around that area. And that has affected traffic this morning. It stretches back all the way to Githurai. It's now getting a bit better, but it was bad. Now the road has opened, so traffic is flowing now towards Nairobi. And the traffic on Thika Superhighway, now the usual traffic that begins at Survey is beginning at Survey. That means also that Kiambu Road is now affected, and Kiambu Road traffic begins at Muthaiga, coming towards town. After the Pangani interchange, it clears, and then you find traffic, of course, on Muranga Road heading to the Ngara and then the Globes in the roundabout, and thereafter it's okay. Jogoo Road is busy into City Stadium roundabout, and Landis Road is busy. Langata Road has been okay this morning. It's all right now, heading towards town. Just a slight snarl up around Wilson Airport, and Mbagathi Way is busy around the City Moche roundabout. Uhuru Highway is busy just at the Railways Bridge. Ngong Road is okay heading towards town. Outer Ring Road has been busy, and it's busy at the interchange with the North Airport Road, which is busy as you head towards City Cabanas. The rest of the roads are looking okay. If there's more that we need to talk about and remind people about, let us know. We'll alert everybody around it.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation.
After 8, we're on to the third hour of the Situation Room this morning. How are you doing? Welcome to the Situation Room. If you're just joining us, wherever you're joining us from, whether it's on KTN, on SpiceFM, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on TikTok, on radio digital platforms, wherever you are, we thank you very much for choosing this as a way to start your day. And because you've chosen us, we have some goodies to give you and some stories to tell you. One is how we can make your life in banking and financial services and trading and business and everything regarding money so much simpler and stress-free. And this is what? Loop. We tell you to go to Apple App Store or Google Play Store and download that app called Loop. When you download it, you will realize that unlike many other banking apps, this one is not an app. This one is actually a lifestyle for you because it sorts you out in very many ways. You stop thinking about things that you could have done because it now makes it possible for you to do them. You're thinking you need some money and you need to borrow some money. You go into the Loop app. You apply for a loan, you can get a loan. You want an overdraft facility, you're running a business. You can get an overdraft facility of up to how much, City? 100,000 shillings.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And
loans of up to how much?
3 million.
3M.
Yes, shillings.
Yeah. And what's good about it as well is if you are running an SME and you're also on the Loop app, you have access to other people who are using the Loop app as your market. So you have access to the facilities in terms of you can get credit. You have access as well to the market in terms of you can advertise your product and services. And if you're on the Loop app and you're thinking, okay, I want to save some money, you can create multiple wallets.
Yes, you can.
Wallet hii moja unaita sherehe. Wallet ingine unaita school fees and those are the headaches. Wallet ingine, something like that. Fuel. Repayment. So you create those wallets and then you're able to just manage your finances better. And they can give you all the support that you need 24 hours a day just via using Loop. Simple. We said download it how?
Well, you simply need to go to, is it any Google store? Ile ingine inaitwaje?
App Store.
App Store. Ukienda huko. Simply look for Loop.
Yes.
And then download it.
Yes. That's it. It's 2 years today since President William Ruto and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua were at Kasarani and they did the thing. Okay? And we all remember what Rigathi did. Okay, but forget about that. They took oath of office and said, we are now in office, formally inaugurated as President and Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya on this day. Since then, the Kenya Kwanza administration has done many things, in terms of just meeting what were the pledges that had been made, what had started, what was continuing. And the question is, okay, there's some misses, there's some hits, there's some misses. Let's talk about a sector that people don't talk about much, but it is a very big sector in this country. That's the livestock sector in this country. Kenya's livestock population, and the man will be here and he'll tell us, we have among the largest herd of livestock in the continent. Do people even know this?
No.
What do we do with our hides and skins? What do we do with our nyama? We only know meat as nyama. Do we know all the other things that we can do with everything from that animal? The Principal Secretary for Livestock Production is Jonathan Mweke. He's our guest. Good morning, PS.
Good morning, Eric.
How are you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Good to have you back in the Situation Room.
Yes, it's been a while. Very good to see you guys.
Karibu sana.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Asante sana.
So to usher you into the conversation, CT will give you the day's proverb. This week the proverbs are from?
The Federal Republic of Somalia.
Right.
Yes. This is the final day of the proverbs. A very interesting country with a very, very rich history. Yes, this is a country whose existence was documented 2035 BC. No, 2335 BC. It had been documented.
Why?
Yes. When people talk of the biblical land of Punt, this is the place they're talking about.
Ndio Punt is this one.
And see, Punt ni Punt.
Okay.
See, imeandikwa Punt. Okay. Well, here we are. A beggar and a ruler know people best.
A beggar and a ruler know people best.
Yes, they do.
P.S., what's the interpretation of this proverb?
Both of them always interact with people and are able to see their characters as they rule over them or they beg from them.
Very true. And they see a very large diversity of people as well.
They are dealing with all manner of people.
Yes, they do. In fact, they actually can't choose really who they see. Yes, those two positions get you to encounter the diversity of mankind.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So your state department is the State Department for Livestock Production.
Development.
Right, livestock development rather. Yes, in the country. Of course, the other one is crop production.
Yes.
Livestock development. What's the main job of this state department?
The main job is to commercialize livestock. Eric, now we are in an era of economic transformation, putting more money in people's pockets, which is the very foundation of our government, and livestock is one of those bottom-up sectors where we are able to very quickly put money in the pockets of our farmers if we commercialize livestock. So we're making that shift from livestock being something that you do as a hobby or something you do in retirement or something you do for cultural reasons or for subsistence, so that, you know, you're keeping a goat so that mutu akikuja weekend muchinje, to saying, listen, if you produce this goat properly, it can actually be a household income for you. So my biggest job is how to commercialize livestock.
When you say livestock, what exactly do we mean?
Livestock is 5 products. So we are talking about meat, talking about milk, honey, eggs, and leather. So those are the 5 products of livestock.
Okay. From all animals in Kenya, or are there specific animals that
we have about 12 animals that constitute of livestock, and we are just about to gazette the 13th, which is going to be the water buffalo. So what we do is we gazette animals as food animals, and those are the ones that constitute livestock.
Okay. The 11th was the donkey, wasn't it?
I'm not. It's one of them. It's the latest one that we gazetted as a food animal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it was within the list. We don't rank them. We just know that we have 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, commercialization, of course, of livestock means very many things to very many people. There are people who would tell you, but yeah, we know. I mean, we keep cows so we can sell milk. They'll tell you we rear chickens so we can sell eggs. We have bees. We do beekeeping so we can sell the honey. We sell our animals so we can pay school fees. We sell our cattle, our sheep, our goats. I mean, we use that to settle school fees, hospital, all financial needs. We know, I go, nauza ng'ombe 3 mbili, napata pesa, nalipa mtoto school fees. What are you talking about now at the commercialization of it? What more do you need?
You see, when people do that, they're only keeping those to serve a certain kind of need. Yeah. But where we are saying commercialization, it's that somebody now deliberately depends on livestock for their livelihood. Just like Eric, how you come to work in the morning, you do your work, at the end of the month, you're paid a salary.
Yeah.
So with livestock, we're trying to say now, listen, if we increase your productivity, if we tell you how to breed properly, give you optimum nutrition for your livestock, ensure that your livestock is healthy by dealing with animal health, then finding a consistent market for you. If you are selling your cow for 30,000 shillings, now you can sell it for 50. And we can do that consistently, so that when you wake up in the morning, your job is to rear livestock, because, you know, this is your livelihood and this is your salary, if you will. So treat it now as a complete business, not as an insurance program that ndakuwa na ng'ombe, if I need school fees, then I'll sell the cow. But when you need school fees, might not be the right season to sell the cow. Might be during a drought. Your cow could die before you get to sell the school, to sell it for school fees. Then you get into a crisis. So what we are saying is, now let's be deliberate. Let's tell you, listen, you're in this area. The best breed for a cow in Taita Taveta is this breed. Let's give you the correct genetics for your cow. Let's tell you, for this breed, this is what you need to feed it. So we call it the meat conversion, so that you feed it as little as possible, which means you reduce your input, your costs, and to get as maximum weight as possible, because, you know, we sell per kilo. So the bigger your cow, the more kilos it is, the more money in your pocket. And then we find you that market that is direct, not through brokers who take advantage of you, so that you can now sell it for top price. And that way now you begin to do it like a business.
Both locally and export.
Both locally and export. So what we did, because we are talking about trade here and commerce, we took a value chain approach. And we said, before we do anything, we have to start with the market. So we went and did a route to market study for leather, for meat, to understand where is the market, what does the market need, with what quality, in what quantities, who are the competitors, what are the barriers to entry, what are the quantities that are needed, when are they needed, what are the cycles, and all of that. So we understood that completely, and now we found out that the market needs good quality products with very big quantities and consistently. So now we move back to production. So what we are doing now is we are giving the farmers the support they need to produce for the market. Because you can spend all your time producing. It takes almost 9 months to produce a goat. Then you produce the wrong goat. So then you can't sell it. So we are starting from scratch and saying, okay, fine, the market is looking for this kind of breeds and all of that. And then you really commercialize it that way.
But PS, why are you saying you're starting? I mean, I thought these are the things that the State Department for Livestock has been supposed to be doing over the years. We have very many research institutions in agriculture.
Correct.
Research institutions specific to livestock.
Correct.
Right? Even when it comes to breeding, there are institutions for breeding.
Correct.
Right? So why are we starting?
Eric, there's been a transformational shift with this administration, the Kenya Kwanza administration. And I guess that's why sometimes we've had challenges with even the populace really understanding, because we've made a paradigm shift in the way we think. We've moved from socialization to really economic transformation. Now, previously, livestock was about livestock. So you have all these breeding centers. We want the cow to look like this. We want to make sure your cow is healthy. We want to make sure your cow is taken care of in terms of welfare. It was about livestock. Now we have changed the game completely, and we are saying it's about people. It's about people. So for me, I'm saying we're using livestock as an enabler to improve livelihoods for people. And that's where the fundamental changes. So we are saying now this cow, before we wanted the best for the cow. Now, how do we make the best cow for the person so that the person can gain from the cow?
So you need to change the person. Because all those things that you're saying, this person has been, rearing the cow.
Correct.
For prestige.
Correct.
Social status.
Yes.
As one time I'll sell and make some money, but it's not really important. I'll sell it when I need to, right?
Yes.
Now you're telling this person that when that calf is born, look at it as money.
Correct.
And start thinking about the journey towards how it shall become money to you.
Correct.
So you're changing the person.
Yes, we are changing the person. And that's why we are focusing on the person and capacity building the person.
Now you're changing people's cultural upbringing.
It's not really cultural upbringing because they sell the cattle anyway. We're just telling them, listen, guys, you also now need to be resilient. It makes absolutely no sense for you to rear an animal for prestige and wealth status for 4 years, and then after 4 years we have a prolonged drought and all your animals die. Then you come back to government and say, Serikali saidia, please restock for us. We've lost all our animals. So we are saying, listen, why don't you commercialize this thing? We know livestock keeping is your culture. You can do it. But a cow matures at 18 months and it's ready for slaughter. Why do you want to keep it for 5 years? From that 18 months all the way for another 3.5 years, you are now having costs on your cow that you can never recover. Because at 18 months, it's matured, it's gained its maximum weight. You'll never get more money for that cow. But you have to keep feeding it, you have to keep treating it, you need to keep taking it to the cattle dip and all of that. So it's for 3.5 years, it's completely loss-making for you. Doesn't make any sense. Take it to slaughter, because it's going to die anyway during the drought and you'll get nothing. Get some money, go back and buy a new stock, and you just keep improving. So what happens is you're now killing two birds with one stone, because once you sell it, you're selling it for profit. You can take your profit, put it in the bank account. Now you're inside the financial system and you still have your cow. Before you have a cow and no money. Now you have a cow and money. So it's better for you.
So what are the hindrances? What are the things that prevent people from adhering to what you said is clearly, it's logical? But what prevents them from simply following these very simply laid out dictates?
What Eric was saying, culture.
Okay.
culture. Yes, our pastoralists have a culture of they just want to see animals, and especially now we are really trying to capacity build them because we've had some good rains, so our animals are very good looking
right now
and very healthy right now, and so nobody wants to sell because they want to look outside in their farm and see very healthy animals and be very proud because their cows and their goats look very good. But the meteorology department has told us that we are going to have below average short rains and we could be going into a drought from October. So that very good animal could lose all that weight and die, being a total loss for that farmer. But in the commercial sense, when your animal has reached that maturity and maximum weight and looking very good, that's the right time to sell for maximum money.
Do we have success stories with what you have proposed and what you're talking about, where people have been able to embrace these changes? And what is it that was identified as what it is that made them more amenable to actually changing their ways of managing this particular wealth that they have?
So one of the success stories in the sector is dairy. And it has a lot to do with farmer producer groups, cooperatives, community self-help groups. Dairy has been very successful in that because they've come together in groups and cooperatives. They produce milk. They have good markets, so the processors, your KCCs and your bios and your latos come and pick up milk twice a day. And they've been able to see the value of this. So what they keep saying is, listen, if we improve our quality, we can get more money. If we improve our quantity, we can get more money. And so they keep pushing themselves to productivity. It's no longer just about keeping a cow that can do 2 liters or 3 liters a day. They say, what is it we need to do to get 10 liters or 15 liters? Because they see the benefit. And they're like, this cow of mine, if it gives me 3 liters at 50 shillings, it's 150 shillings a day. But if it gives me 10 liters at 50 shillings, it's 500 shillings a day. They can see it. So now they come to us and they say, this same cow, without making any more investment in a different cow, how can I move from 3 liters to 10 liters? Then we tell them, first of all, do you have the right breed? If not, we are going to give you the right genetics so that this same cow can give back to a calf that can give you 10 liters. Then we come and tell you, okay, what are you feeding the cow? Is it efficient? And the cow dairy is very interesting. You see a change in 5 days. So you can move from 3 liters to 10 liters in 5 days if you do good feeding. So we give them good feed rations for the nutrition that's needed. Productivity comes up. Same cow. And remember, the milk is collected every day. So today you're getting 150, tomorrow you're getting 500. Same cow. So it clicks. Now we are trying to move that into the meat sector and into the honey sector so that they can begin to see the same thing. And I think the best way to be able to change that mindset is by putting these people into farmer groups, especially the younger people who are not so ingrained in the culture. So that for them from the get-go is hii ni biashara. So we put them together, donate some breeding stock for them, which we have in our research centers, sure they have the right breed, the right feeding regime, vaccinate them to make sure that the animal health is good, teach them on how to treat the cow for husbandry, manenos, and then offtake in 6 months, because we have the market and the market really is looking for our meat.
But that's the issue. You see, what you've given us as an example in the milk sector, you've given us examples of market players, right? So where the farmers are then incentivized, if you organize yourselves well, there is clear offtake. There's a market that's organized.
Correct.
The meat sector's market, is it as organized as the milk sector's market?
It is.
Where we see animals are taken to a local market, in all these areas. There's Tuesday is a day for Soko Ng'ombe in this area. Wednesday it moves to here. Thursday it moves to here. That's how we see the organization of the market, just at that basic level. Who takes those cows from those markets Traders who are middlemen, they take the cows from those small markets in Kimana, in Loriga, in Brigani, they bring them to Emali, then another trader picks it from Emali, brings it to Nairobi, to Kichinjio.
Yes.
That market is completely disorganized.
Yes.
If there was an organized market, don't you think then there'd be more value for the farmer?
The market is disorganized because the farmer is disorganized. So they're being taken advantage of. So you go to Muga in my home county, Kitui, which is the biggest market that side, and you have been rearing a goat for 7 months, and you sell it for 4,500. Somebody comes and picks it up, puts it in a truck, has the goat for only 3 hours. You did 7 months.
Yep.
And sells it for 10,000 at Kiamaiko. So you get 4,500. Maybe you've spent 4,000 shillings rearing that goat, so you make 500 shillings. This guy makes 6,000 or 5,500 minus his 1,000 transport costs and puts 3,500 in the pocket. Yeah. Now, if the farmers could be organized, then Kiamaiko would be coming directly to them to say, you guys, aggregate, I will come to Muga and I will pick from you. But right now, since the farmer is not organized, then you have to depend on brokers to do their aggregation. And that's where our very revolutionary farmers digital database is helping us. We came and we've registered almost 6.5 million farmers since Kenya Kwanza came into office. And that is now to look at the entire agricultural sector, because the same farmer who has maize is the same one who's doing dairy, is the same one who has a goat and a chicken and maybe a beehive. So we've registered the farmers, so we now know where they are, we now know what they are keeping, and now we can target them with this kind of extension service to ensure that we can put them in groups properly and then move. And we've already started this work.
Do we know our livestock population?
Yes, we have 22 million cows. We have about 50 million sheep and goat.
Camels?
3 million.
3 million camels.
Yeah. Pigs, I think pigs should be about 1.5 million, if I'm not wrong.
Do poultry fall under livestock?
Yes.
So this is statistics as of when?
This is statistics as of 2022. We are right now embarking on an activity called the Livestock Master Plan that will finish in December. And this is what is now going to really give us proper statistics on all markets, all slaughterhouses, all the livestock, and then we will be updating them through a technology called livestock identification and traceability, which we should be starting maybe in another month or so. We've already finished the tender, awarded it last week. We're just waiting for other procurement things to go on, and in about a month we'll roll out that program where we're going to tag all our livestock.
One would have hoped that this exercise of registering the farmers would simultaneously have done a census on the livestock. Because they were coming and saying, Mama Eric, you're a farmer, what do you have?
Yes, and we did that. That's why we were able to get a baseline, but you have to realize that also 70% of our livestock is in the ASAL areas where you necessarily don't grow crops.
So the 6.5 million farmers does not capture ASAL areas?
No, it doesn't. It's mainly for the people who do crops. We have done that primarily for our fertilizer subsidy program, but we were able to capture also the livestock of those farmers, and we have that record. But most of the other farmers are up north, and they don't do crops, they only do livestock, and that's why now we are running another exercise to target them.
And the larger population of livestock is in the ASAL area?
Yes, almost 70%.
Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 9. Our guest this morning is Jonathan Mweke, Principal Secretary in the State Department for Livestock Development in the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development, and what else?
Agriculture and Livestock Development.
Bas, that's it. Okay. Hiya. He is our guest today. We are looking at the state of the livestock sector in Kenya. What has the Kenya Kwanza administration done in the last 2 years to look at this huge herd of our livestock in this country, which is, a mainstay for very many people in this country? How is it doing, and what has it done to improve the welfare of our animals. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, ayu markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, "No, you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat."
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Yes. It's sunny now in Nairobi, warming up to 16 degrees, highs of 22 later today. Partly sunny mostly sunny day in Mombasa, 26 and highs of 30. Sunny as well in Malindi, 27 and highs of 29. Kisumu sunny, 24 and highs of 32. Nakuru sunny, 18 and highs of 28. Mostly sunny in Nyeri, highs of 25 later, currently at 16. Kakamega, partly sunny at 22 and highs of 30. Eldoret City, sunny at 16, highs of 25. Kampala, mostly cloudy morning at 22, highs of 29. Lagos, Nigeria, partly cloudy at 25 and highs of 29. Highs of 29 in Johannesburg and currently at 19. Mogadishu, mostly sunny at 27 and highs of 30. Mostly sunny as well in Addis Ababa, 16, highs of 21. Dar es Salaam, sunny at 23, highs of 30. Paris, partly sunny at 7, highs of 18. London, 7, highs of 17. Beijing, mostly cloudy at 28. It's the peak temperature for the day in Beijing right now this afternoon. Tonight in New York, clear skies at 18, highs of 26. All right, so the problem that was there on the Thika Superhighway earlier, where there was an accident around City Garden Estate there heading towards CBD, has been cleared. So the traffic is now flowing. You'll only find traffic from GSU headquarters coming towards town, and then it breaks off. You'll find it again at Utalii. Thika Superhighway gets into the Muthaiga interchange, and then it moves on very smoothly into Murang'a Road. Kiambu Road also affected slightly with traffic stretching into the Muthaiga Golf Club. Then what do we see on the roads heading in towards town? We know very well that there's been an issue on Lower Kabete Road. I don't know what causes traffic on Lower Kabete Road, especially when you have at that underpass with the Red Hill Link Road. I do not understand, but Lower Kabete Road coming towards town is always jam-packed in the morning. James Keshoro is heading towards ABC Place and it's busy. And then when you come into the Wayaki way in towards town, so you'll find Mogoga Green and Brookside Grove. It's been closed because there's some construction works going on there. But then there's a lot of traffic as you get into that junction heading in towards Westlands. You'll find more traffic at Westlands and then more traffic as you come towards the city centre. Mombasa Road is okay. Outer Ring Road has been okay this morning. And also North Airport Road has not been so bad so far.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Our conversation continues with the PS for Livestock Development, Jonathan Mweke, who's here in the studio. 2 years of Kenya Kwanza's administration. He says, you know, what they got into office is they said, let's change this paradigm. Let's look at our livestock and let's look at our people and put focus now on the people. Can people make money from livestock rearing? We're talking about 12 animals that have been classified as food items. We're then in those products, meat, milk, honey, eggs, leather. How do we improve this sector so that it makes money for people and it makes commercial sense for people? So 2 years, Jonathan, what have you done?
We focused on two value chains, dairy and leather. Like I said, we first did route to market studies, so we understand what the market wants. Then we went in and started production. Now, for production, we realized we needed to do 3 things. Actually, 4 things, but we've been able to accomplish 3. The 4th one is the one that's underway. Number 1 is breed improvement. So we put together a team of experts who revalidated which breeds we need in which ways, and we began to deliver the same to the farmers. In the dairy sector, we introduced technology called sexed semen genetics for our dairy cows. What this does is it ensures that once you inseminate your dairy cow, you have a 90% chance of that cow giving birth to a heifer. Because when you get a bull calf, a male calf, in the dairy industry, it is a big loss for you. Yeah, you can't milk it. So you can't open a beef sector. So now this has been revolutionary for our farmers, because before it was a 50-50 chance once you inseminate, but now
how was this done?
90% chance.
How was this done? How did we get this sex semen genetics done?
We are importing right now from Germany, as we are working to buy our own machines to do the semen sexing. So semen sexing is taking the semen and extracting the Y and X chromosomes, and then now inseminate into the cow, and that gives your cow 90% chance of giving you a female calf. That has been revolutionary. It was a very expensive when we started at 8,000 shillings, but the president directed on Madaraka Day that we reduce that price to 2,000 to under 3,000 shillings, and we're able to reduce it to 2,900 shillings. So
what do you mean by reducing? So who's covering the rest of the cost?
Well, a big part of the cost is that private sector is the one that we're doing the importation of the same and sending it to our commercial farmers at a very high rate. And when the president directed the cost to come down, we have an institution called KAGRIC, Kenya Animal Genetics Resources Center, that's under the State Department for Livestock, and the president ordered that we do the importation and the packaging ourselves and sell it to the farmer at cost. So we were able to bring it all the way from 8,000 shillings to 2,900 shillings. That has revolutionized the dairy sector.
P.S.,
So
are you
getting
saying
the breed right? Yes.
that over the years where we've had KAGRIC, we've had CALRO, we have had all these research institutions, we've never, even KEVAP, not KEVAP is for vaccines,
Yes.
we've never been able to do this?
This is a new technology. It's like you asking me right now, all these
What
years
is new?
since
New is
we've
how many
been-
years?
Just about 3 or 4 years old.
In Germany. So it's being
Worldwide.
So it's being piloted now through the world.
No, it's not being piloted. It's ready now.
Now it's being commercialized.
It's being commercialized. That's why we are buying it. But it's a new technology. Science evolves all the time. It's like you asking me, why didn't we have electric cars in 1940s?
Yeah, why
they are
didn't
not there.
Okay. How many farmers have benefited from this?
Cement 10 years ago.
Breed improvement.
Yes.
How many farmers have benefited from it? Are they accessing it through cooperatives? Is it direct farmers? Are they buying from a specific?
Since the president since President Ruto made the commitment in June 1st, we've been able to bring in 20,000 doses, and they've all gone.
So how many farmers?
20,000 doses, and we give them to the cooperatives. I don't have the data on how many farmers, because maybe one farmer bought 10 or 20, so I don't have that data.
Yeah.
But I know 20,000 doses, so we've been able to impact 20,000.
What's the target?
Whatever's 200,000.
So when do we hope to reach the 200,000?
This was our first pilot, so we were seeing how this goes, and they've really gone. We are now going to increase that to 50,000 this financial year. We have that in our budget, and then progressively bring it up to 200,000.
Was there a specific format in the rolling out of this, so that you say, I mean, this is Kenya Kwanza, it's bottom up, it's looking at the hustlers, the small dairy farmers who really, really would benefit from this, and making sure that those ones are the first ones to benefit or are benefiting? Can we now say that, if we go to an area where we have a concentration of dairy farmers and they're organized, say Githongori, we can say that farmers in Githongori have benefited from this. These are people who have 4 or 5 cows, and that this has not gone to benefit people with large herds of cows who are big dairy farmers.
if we go to that micro level, we'll miss the bigger picture. At a government level, what you look for are outcomes. What are the outcomes? We have introduced this. What is the benefit? And as guys, what we have seen the benefit is, because now you're doing quality breeding, you're getting quality milk, we've been able to increase the amount of money the farmer gets from 37 shillings in 2022 to 50 shillings now.
It's important to go micro, because that answers the question of which farmer. Remember, the promise by the government was about the which farmer, which person benefits from government this time. It's bottom up. So which farmer is this?
Yeah,
that
Eric,
is now benefiting from this?
You're missing the point.
Okay.
You're missing the point. We have 22 herds of cattle. 5.4 of them are dairy cattle. If I as PS now begin to go and split hairs to find out which farmer and which cow benefited, it becomes very difficult. That's why we organize them in cooperatives. We make sure the cooperatives have good governance. The cooperatives have extension workers who now deal directly with the individual farmers. And then what we look at is what are the outputs. And I'm telling you, the outputs are, we are now having safer, higher quality milk, which the processors are paying more for. And so we've increased the price per litre per farmer from 37 shillings to 50 shillings. We have increased formerly marketed milk from almost 700 million litres to 811 million litres. Those are the outcomes we look for. So we say we've made this intervention, we've made this investment, has it paid off? Now within that whole realm of things, there's a farmer who has 2,000 cows, they have benefited. There's a farmer that has 2 cows, they've benefited. So what we do to validate this, and I'm sure you guys see me out in the farm, out in the field, is we go and visit the farmers. When we're doing vaccination exercises, when we're doing breed improvement exercises, we go when we are giving animal feed to teach the rations, we go out and visit the farms and we interview them. Even the farmers, have been to farms that have 3 cows, 5 goats, yeah. And they say, yes, tulipata hii kupitia cooperative, serikali imetusaidia, sasa nilikuwa napata pesa hii, sasa napata pesa hii. Others say, hatujaona serikali kikuja kudunga ng'ombe zetu tangu sijui lini. Sasa mnadunga, and now we are getting more money for our meat. And that's how we are able to see, are we making progress or not. But if I start now going to find out, okay, this farmer with 1 cow in Taita Taveta, how are they doing and have they gotten sex semen? I'll never be able to do anything else.
I hear you, PS, and I'm not minimizing anything that you've just said.
Yes.
It's impact, good.
Yes.
Numbers, very good. But at the same time, it's the focus of the who.
Yes.
Right? Because that is the backbone of the government and the administration. It is the who. I'm simply seeking for you to tell me, for example, X number of farmer cooperatives. If you told me X number of farmer cooperatives have benefited from this, then I know farmer cooperatives, many of them will be dealing with those small-scale dairy farmers. So we are seeing that this one is actually going to impact the small-scale dairy farmer who has been spending so much money on cow, trying to get the milk, and now they're getting more value for what they're doing. And then now we can say the impact of the Kenya Kwanza administration to the hustler economy is actually now being felt in the milk sector. So that the people do not come back and say, yeah, all these things have been imported and the government is supporting, but the government is supporting the big dairy farmers.
So Eric, what is our production system in Kenya? Smallholder.
Yes.
Right?
Largely.
Not largely, it's almost 85% smallholder. Okay? So, if I do a reform in tea, and I see the volumes increase by 30%, surely, would the 15% big tea commercial farms bring that kind of volume increase? No. The increase comes from the 85%. They're the ones who benefit most. So that's why I'm saying you look at the outcomes and then you know you've made the impact. So out of the 711 million litres which we increased to, that 811 million litres that we increased from 700 million litres, Yeah, we know 80% of that came from the smallholder farmer who've been aggregated into a cooperative.
Okay.
So I don't need to go and look for the smallholder farmer. I can see it in the numbers.
Let me get granular on that question.
So you're telling me to work hard, and I'm telling you, no, we're working smart, because working smart makes more sense.
I'm getting granular. Yes. When we look at this progress, unfortunately, we have to get granular in this sense.
Yes.
If we're talking milk production, we have to ask, okay, what was the average production of one cow per day?
Correct.
And what has been the increase? Because now that one informs you directly about the improvement. So when you talk about the 700 million, 900 million, it is easy to understand. But you begin with that, you say...
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So our average was 3 to 5
liters per day.
Liters per day. Mm-hmm. We are now headed north towards 7 liters per day per cow. And that's how you're able to see that your interventions in breed improvement are bringing up the quality and the quantities, and your interventions in animal health and in animal feed are working.
If I'm to compare it with, say, a country that is known for its dairy products,
yes,
the Netherlands, for instance.
Correct.
If you look at the population of their livestock, let's talk about cows specifically, we have almost 6 times the number. And yet, what you look at the average production of per cow per litre, it's like 14.5 litres. Are we saying that that's where we want to get to? Where, when we're talking about the production and when we talk about new technology and we're talking about how it is the improvement is, I'm asking the question, do we have a benchmark where we're saying, okay, we've improved from this to this, but what we want to head to so that we can compete internationally is actually this?
Yes, we do. In the commitment for 5 years, we want to head to 10. We are right now around 7. Yeah, Netherlands has been doing this for 40, 50 years commercially.
We're doing this for the longest possible time.
Yeah, and they're doing about 15. Now, we've just started having a big focus on commercial. Yeah, there's no other government since independence that has had a main agenda on economic transformation. This is it, and we are 2 years old now. And our thing is, the metrics we are trying to see is the economy growing? Is there more money? Are we producing? Are we exporting? Those are the metrics that we look at. Those are the metrics that are important to us, because those are indicators if you're being competitive globally on your products. So we are trying to get there. It's been 2 years. We have already seen a jump, and we're like, you know what? We are moving in the right direction. Now, once we get our animal identification and traceability, that makes our products again more competitive. Once we start largely commercializing, and now the government has a program called the Land Commercialization Initiative, where we are saying we have large tracts, hundreds of thousands of acres of idle government land. Actually, I think we have already identified 2 million acres. Why don't we give it to investors, large-scale investors, to grow animal feed? Animal feed constitutes 40 to 60% in poultry of the cost of production. Once you bring that down, then now you have a quality product at an affordable price, then you can compete again globally. You
become competitive.
Focus again on value addition. We've done great strides on value addition, especially in the dairy sector when we are talking about cheese, yogurt, butter, ghee. Yeah, we are now focusing on that because those are high value products. And then that means that you need higher quality milk with higher protein content, higher butter fat content for you to be able to make those high value dairy products. So we are also moving towards that manufacturing part of it. And you just see the numbers growing. You see our export numbers growing. You see our local consumption numbers growing. So it's working.
There's a component that
it's working.
I just want to touch on, and that is the nutrition aspect of it. Because if we're producing a lot of milk, are we also consuming a lot of milk? Again, I'm stuck on this country of Netherlands because their dairy production has been very directly related to health indexes or indices in the country. In fact, for that reason, there are those who claim, there's a debate, yes, but some of the tallest people on the planet right now are actually Dutch.
What's the per capita consumption of milk in Kenya? Actually, it's one of the highest.
So just let me read for you the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, for dairy, and then I'll also get for you for the leather. So our formerly marketed milk increased from 755 million litres in 2022 to 811 million litres in 2024. That's a 7.4% increase. The value of marketed milk increased from 33.7 billion to 40.45 billion. That's a 20% increase in the 2 years Kenya Kwanza has been around. The farm gate price increased from 37 to 50 shillings. Dairy cooperatives increased from 670 to 770, a 17% raise. Dairy exports increased from 4.9 billion in 2022 to 7.3 billion in 2024. That's 49% increase. And per capita consumption of milk increased from 78.3 litres in 2022 to 86.1 litres in 2023. That's an increase in 10%.
So per capita consumption of milk is actually right now at 86.1 litres.
And we are the highest in the region.
It's always been like that. It's a very, very high, 86.1 litres per person per year. It's a lot of milk. Let's talk about the other sectors.
And we want to increase that by seeing if we can reintroduce milk in the school feeding program. That will increase our per capita.
Leather. What have you done in the last 2 years?
We have been able to increase the exports in terms of value from 1.79 billion in 2022 to 2.5 billion in 2023. That's a 42% increase. We have been able to train almost 1,200 flayers to remove the skin from the animal. Actually, that was one of our biggest issues. Our leather manufacturers were saying that the skin is coming out damaged.
The quality.
So what we did as government, we went out, we mapped all the slaughterhouses, we got all the flayers together, we bought them flaying equipment because they were using regular knives. So the government bought them flaying equipment.
Flaying is what exactly?
Flaying is removing the skin from the body of the animal. For goats and sheep, it's skins. For cows, it's hides. So hides and skins. And the leather manufacturers were really complaining that we have low quality. So that has seen an increase in our exports to 42%. Why I say exports mostly is that's where we take our high quality leather. I'll be proud to tell you that our local manufacturers here in Thika, in Kitengela, are exporting finished leather for high-value fashion brands like Louis Vuitton, like Gucci, like Armani in Italy. So our leather is coming from here. We have also been able to finish a big part of the Kenya Leather Industrial Park. This is what is now going to revolutionize our manufacturing in leather. Biggest component.
Is this the one in
Kenanye?
In Kenanye?
Yes.
That thing started in 2017.
Yes.
Is it complete now?
It is 90% complete. And why is that? Is because when the Kenya Kwanza administration came in, it became a top priority. So in the last year and a half, we've made great progress. We finished the common effluent treatment plant, which is the biggest component for that. About 60% of the cost of setting up a leather manufacturing company or factory is wastewater treatment. Leather is a highly chemical intensive manufacturing process, and you get a lot of wastewater that is not environmentally safe, and so NEMA requires you to treat that water before you can discard it into the environment. And that plant of a water treatment plant, waste treatment plant, is almost 60%. So government said, listen, why don't we put up as government a common plant where leather manufacturers or factories can come in and plug in. So that plant is complete. We've set up warehouses. So 2 of them and 2 tanneries where investors can come and plug and play as a pilot. It's 100 acres of land, so we've already taken about 10 acres and built the factories themselves to invite investors. What is remaining are 3 enablers that have given us a problem because of budgetary provisions. One is the road from Athi River to the plant. 2 is the power, which we just got 250 million shillings in our budget this year to get a power substation there. Again, the factory needs a lot of power. And 3 is water. And Tanath is working on that. That has slowed us down. The plant should have been complete last year, but that slowed us down because of budgetary constraints from government. We are targeting for it to be complete in December. That was our target before the finance bill got rejected. So with the 346 billion shillings that got cut from the finance bill, that has affected that project.
So now we are exporting 2.5 billion shillings worth of leather outside of the country.
Yes.
And then this, of course, is translating into how much then the farmers are getting in terms of earnings. Are they earning more?
Yes, of course, because they are actually, the leather manufacturers were in my office the day before yesterday, again complaining that they are not getting enough hides and skins, and that they are even now beginning to import from Rwanda. So we have some work to do with our slaughterhouses to ensure that as we are slaughtering animals, we're able to deliver the raw material properly to our manufacturers. Our manufacturers have also told us that they have doubled their incomes in leather sales, both locally and internationally, especially internationally. And Eric, I can tell you without fear of contradiction, 90% of the increased value of exports that we are seeing that brought the shilling down from 160 shillings to 128 shillings to the dollar is because of the president's foreign trips. The president has been our number 1 trade negotiator, our number 1 Kenya salesman, and every time he goes abroad, he signs MOUs, we get trade agreements, and people begin to order our stuff. So when I see sometimes people saying the president is traveling too much, I wonder, why do Kenyans want to shoot themselves in the foot? Because the huge benefits that we're being able to get from his trips abroad, in terms of even diaspora jobs, in terms of market for our goods and services, which directly translate into job creation here, sometimes I wonder, why don't you journalists just go out to the field and see? When you guys are talking about fake fertilizer that almost never existed, you need to go to Kitale. You need to go to Bungoma. You need to go to Nakuru. You need to go to Uasin Gishu, Eldoret, and see the kind of maize people have. And you wonder, can this maize that has increased our productivity by almost 30-40% have been zalishwad with fake fertilizer? Guys need to go out and see what's happening out there on the ground. The housing program that you guys are always fighting, there's right now a few hundreds of thousands of houses that are being built. Have you guys ever visited any of those sites? Just go and visit, see how many guys are there, how many engineers, how many architects, how many masons, where are the doors coming from, where are the windows coming from? Have you just gone here to Dagoretti and asked them, biashara sasa iko namna gani? There's a lot of impact economically to people for so many things, but guys just sit here and listen to fake news. Somebody from committee, Eric, sends you a note and says Mweke is beginning to tax animals tomorrow, and then you put it out on Twitter and everybody believes Mweke is taxing animals. Mweke is not taxing any animals. But if you stop listening to the guy seated, that guy of Nitumie kwa hii number M-Pesa, if you stop listening to him in committee and you just go to the ground, you'll see what's happening in leather. Go talk to the honey farmers. You'll see what's happening in honey. There's a lot of stuff that's happening.
Okay. Tumekuskia PS.
We've made a lot of progress.
And
a lot of progress as a country.
And we have been informed.
And we're in this country. It is 3 minutes after 9. Jonathan Mweke is the PS for livestock development in the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. Well, keep it here for the news and then more conversations.
Thank you very much.
spice up your life. From around the world, 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Asha. We'll start the bulletin on Asad North, where 6 school-going children have been killed in a road accident at Witu Shopping Centre on the Kitui-Kibwezi Road. Confirming the Friday morning incident, Ikitha Deputy County Commissioner Vincent Loktari Lomachari said the victims include 3 primary school children and 3 from secondary school. According to the Deputy County Commissioner, the learners were knocked down by a probox while crossing the road. The driver of the vehicle fled the scene before later surrendering himself to Mutomo Police Station. He has since been arrested and the vehicle impounded as investigations into the incident continue. Now, the Kenya Kwanza government, having completed 2 years of its administration, the residents of Trans Nzoia County have urged President William Ruto to fulfill the promises he made to them when he visited the county. Ngeiwo Festo, a resident, has urged the head of state to send the 100 million shillings it promised to complete the modern market at Masinde Muliro complex in Kitale and start the construction of the affordable houses as well.
Mimi ni Mr. Ngeiwo Festo, mkaaji wa Trans Nzoia. Tumeangalia miradi zake, barabara ya kutoka Kitale kwenda Swam border inaendelea, lakini kuna mahadi pia ambayo alitupromise kwamba atahamisha prison from town. Prison is still there, national housing there, mpaka saizi haijawahi anza. Hii mwaka ambayo tunaenda atuanzishie hiyo, so vijana wetu wapate kazi kidogo kidogo. Katuambia atatuongezea, atatupea 100 million na malizi soko ya mama hapa stage within 4 months iko imeisha. Haijamalizika hadi leo, so tunamkumbusha kwamba pia aje atuambie na atumalizie hizo miradi ndogo ndogo, so that sisi na wakaaji wa Trans Nzoia tuweze kujivunia uongozi wake kwa hii mwaka wake wa pili.
Kevin Kisiero, another resident, has urged the president to fulfill his promise to pave the Kitale Marabach Saboti Road to improve transport activities along the road.
Mimi naitwa Kevin Kishero. Mimi ni mkaji wa eneo bunge la Saboti. Rais mwenyewe alikuja akasimama wakati alikuwa anaomba kura, akasema pale Marambach, akasema akishapewa tu hivi ashike Bible, barabara ya kutoka Kipsongo tu Saboti huko juu atatuwekea lami. Sasa hii sasa tunaona kitu yote ambayo inaendelea. Hii ni msimu wa kuvuna, by the way. Sasa hakuna njia. Sasa transport tunaumia sana. Mtu anaweza kuwa amenunua nyanya yake akataka kuja naye town, anafika town nyanya zimeharibika kwa njia. So hizo vitu zote zinachangia. Rais atusaidie, atuundie njia, si tushukuru.
And Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka, who doubles up as the chairperson of the Agriculture Committee in the Council of Governors, has called on agricultural stakeholders to create a better environment that will attract young people to the sector, saying that the majority of farmers are over 60 years old.
If you look at the statistics, 70% wale ambao wanafanya kilimo are actually people above 60 years. So how do we interest our youth also to embrace agriculture? And I'm happy that we are now talking about agribusiness, kwa sababu vijana wetu sasa wanataka pesa ya haraka. Agriculture was a culture, but now agribusiness, value addition. How are we getting the value addition? Kama ni maziwa, yogurt, cheese, and all the other byproducts that we can get from that value addition. That's how we are going to interest the youth, make them also know that with agriculture or agribusiness, you can just still make good money.
He also asked the national and county governments to allocate 10% of their budgets to the agricultural sector so as to promote research.
You know, we are signatories to what we call Maputo Declaration of 203. Maputo Declaration in December that 10% of the national budget and our budget should go to agriculture so that we ensure we have food security. I don't know how much we are doing as counties and as a country to make sure that 10% goes to agriculture kupigana na mambo ya njaa. So we are signatories to this and we must now address that very seriously. Let us be serious about agriculture. And agriculture is going to move us from poverty.
Guinea-Bissau's President Umaru Sissoco Embalo says he won't run for the second time in elections in November. Embalo was elected in January 2020 to succeed outgoing President Jose Mario Vaz. He defeated runner-up Domingos Simoes Pereira with 54% of the vote and would have been eligible for another term in office. The unexpected announcement could trigger a power vacuum and heating political instability in the coup-prone country of around 2 million people. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya.
You guys are very well informed. And as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry. Hapo.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Let me tell you. Hey. Anyway, traffic. Lower Kabete Road is now clear. Limuru Road is clear. Thika Superhighway is, in fact, Kiambu Road is clear. Thika Superhighway is the one that has a bit of an issue, but once you get to Pangani, you will move. Muranga Road is okay up to Globe Cinema roundabout. Uhuru Highway is all right up to Bunyala, and then you get over the Railways Bridge into Haile Selassie Avenue. It is where you'll find a bit of a snarl up. Coming in towards town, all roads are looking okay. Even Ngong Road into Valley Road, into Kenyatta Avenue, they are looking fine. The Agwins Kothak Road towards that roundabout with Valley Road, that's where you'll find a bit of a snarl up. And of course also the bit of the section of the, what's the name of this road actually? This road, it's also Valley Road. Oh, Valley Road goes all the way up to City Moche roundabout. I never knew that actually. Oh yeah, so Valley Road up to City Moche roundabout, you'll find that busy section there, and that is between Agwins Kothak and City Moche roundabout. And City Moche roundabout also into Raila Odinga Way is also busy as you get in there. Langata Road, we have talked about it all morning. Today, it's behaved really, really well. Jogoo Road has been an issue into City Stadium roundabout, but it's now okay. Landis Road into town is where you'll have a problem, kidogo, and then a bit of a problem around Feather Estate on Outer Ring Road.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the
11
Situation.
minutes after 9. How are you doing? Welcome to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this second week of September. It's Friday the 13th. Terrain. Now, let's remove all those bad omen stories and bring in the good stories, okay? So, Safaricom has come up with one package that tells you it's all in one. 2,000 shillings a month, City. What do you get?
For 2,000 shillings a month, my friend, if I were to put it in a sentence, I would say...
Let us start with the number of SMSs. How many SMSs?
SMS, unapata kama 2,000.
2,000 SMSs.
Exactly.
How many minutes, call minutes?
1,000.
How much data?
17 GB.
Put the icing on the cake.
My friend, ile kitu inaitwa what is up. Hiyo, bure.
Free.
Sasa
Free WhatsApp.
You can just WhatsApp until.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Imagine. People are saying today the show is about imagine. Yes, imagine.
Please extend your imagination.
2,000 bob. And all you need to do is just dial star 544 hash. That's star 544 hash. It'll bring in this suite of options. Go to the Go Monthly option. And then you'll select the all-in-one monthly bundle. You pay 2,000 bob and you get all that. That's a lot. Now, there's something else. Because today is Friday the 13th, we want to make things a bit better. Okay? Yes. If you go there and you choose a plan for more data, more minutes, more, we can reward you. We are going to give somebody some money this morning. 3,000 shillings worth of airtime. worth of Safaricom airtime. 3,000 shillings by the end of this show. What we want you to do is go do that 544 hash or use your my Safaricom app, subscribe to the Go Monthly, pay the 2,000 bob, send a proof of purchase, put it on, to send a screenshot on our DM on X. That's SpiceFM KE on X. If you post that on our DM on X, our social media guys are going to pick one, and that one is going to get how much? 3,000 shillings.
Worth of airtime.
Who was our social media guys, our Gen Z guy? What's his name?
Avin.
That one. Avin Gen Z. Avin Gen Z is going to pick one person to win 3,000 shillings. All you need to do, star 544 hash, or go to my Safaricom app and select the Go Monthly all-in-one package. Hivo 2, we give you back your money. You're paying 2,000, we give you 3,000. Senior. Why? What are these things people talk about? Why do people joke?
I don't know.
Benefit
is at your doorstep, knocking, even calling you out.
And here you are joking.
Yes.
Just like we've been telling people, go to your App Store or Play Store and download Loop. And you're saying, Loop what? Loop what? Why wait while you can loop? What's Loop City?
Well, actually, it's a lifestyle. I mean, you may not sound like it's a lifestyle, but believe me, it is a lifestyle.
Yep.
When you have an opportunity to, A, make it possible for yourself to actually get an overdraft. Possible for you to get a loan. Overdraft of 100,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yep.
A loan, 3 million shillings. If all these things are possibilities which are at yours for the asking, all you simply need to do is download the Loop app from Play Store or App Store. That's it.
Evo 2.
That's it.
Yep.
When you download it, the information will be at your fingertips. What does that mean? It means that all these benefits we keep speaking of are also at your fingertips.
Yeah.
It's up to you, though.
Take advantage.
Download.
Yep.
And start the journey.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Let's continue talking about agriculture. So in the last hour, we had the PS for livestock development. Now, let's talk about the other side of agriculture, cash crop, okay? Coffee. Big cash crop in this country.
Massive.
One of the top export earners for very many years in this country. And then things started happening and farmers were like, this coffee thing is not helping us. In fact, let's just start cutting off the coffee bushes,
yes.
And start doing other things. Tunaweza weka machungwa.
Tunaweza kujenga nyumba.
Tujenge nyumba and all those things. And then the government was like, all right, so what are the challenges that farmers are facing? One, it's cash flow issues. So let's address all these things by coming up with a fund, the Coffee Sherry Fund. It has done very many things. It was intended to do very many things, but we don't know about them because the MP who's here is going to tell us the genesis of it and how far it's doing right now. The MP for Githongori constituency, Adani wa Mushomba, good morning.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Umesahau hiyo.
Allah?
Doctor.
There's news.
The woman for the job.
Yeah?
The
woman.
Yes.
For the job.
My pastor keeps telling me that if you want to preach to people, first preach to yourself. And I've already preached to myself that I'm the woman for the job.
But
do you know just how ideal that is? Because those who studied counseling psychology first counsel themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So before I convince other people to believe in me, I believe in myself first.
Kabisa.
That I am the woman for the job.
Kabisa.
Very well. So where have you been, Eric, for some time?
Oh, I've been here this week.
No, last week, but one I didn't hear you.
Last week I had taken some time off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's very important.
10212.
Yeah.
Yeah, kuenda kufanya your counseling psychology city.
When you are away.
Talk to myself.
When you are away. Somebody crafted to take away our cherry fund.
What do you mean?
Somebody wrote a very scheming letter.
What do you mean?
Yes.
To whom?
To the ministry to reallocate money.
Wait.
To reallocate money. Na sio pesa kidogo, pesa mingi.
Wait. City, please give her the proverb first.
First of all, temperature kishuka kidogo. Hii proverb ni mzuri sana. A beggar and a ruler know people best. Now, our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the Federal Republic of Somalia. This is our final proverb from that particular country.
A beggar
and a ruler know people best. You, Mheshimiwa, are a ruler. And so you fall into the category of those who know people
best.
Yes.
What's
Eric
the
and I fall
interpretation?
in the category of beggar. So
we also know the people
best.
Because the name beggar and ruler are in action mode. Isn't it?
Karibu kwa verb.
Yes. Action mode means you can't be a ruler if you are not acting.
You're absolutely right.
You can't be a beggar if you are not acting. So you are acting to the name. So you must be knowing what you act to. It's like saying I'm a teacher, but I don't teach. So why are you a teacher? Whom do you teach?
What are you teaching?
What are you teaching?
That's a good one.
And incidentally, by the way, some of the rulers were beggars. And some of the beggars were rulers.
True.
Some.
True.
So they know each other. And they know the tactics.
Adani,
Yo.
please tell us about the Coffee Cherry Fund. First of all, what is it?
Coffee Cherry Fund is a facilitative fund to facilitate coffee farmers to be able to do what they're supposed to do best in terms of best farming practices, to get the right quality of coffee, to afford to buy inputs for their coffee, and to maintain quantities that are needed to make business sense. So the government realized that coffee industry is a money demanding industry for you to be able to yield the right amounts. And they realized most of the farmers don't have that money, cash flow, to buy pesticides, to buy, all the farming inputs. And even the pruning and the picking of coffee demands a lot of money for you to be able to hire people, because it's a labor-intensive crop. So the government, during Kibaki's time, that is between the year 2004 to 2006, came up with a Coffee Development Fund, a fund that was initiated to help the farmers develop themselves. Unfortunately, that fund was mismanaged. Later on, we realized that we actually do not need the development of infrastructures in factories. We actually need to fund the farmer at the doorstep, or what we call the farm gate. So we derived another fund called Coffee Advance Cherry Fund. That fund is specifically supposed to be loaned to the farmers who have crops, so that they can afford to pick, to prune, and to maintain the quality that is needed and quantities. And that fund was created for the purpose of empowering farmers, coffee farmers. Unfortunately, Eric, there has been a lot of coffee politics. People thinking that coffee farmers are given money for free. For your understanding, Coffee Advance Cherry Fund is not a grant. It is a revolving fund which is loaned to the farmers. So you are loaned. Once you are paid your money, you pay back. In fact, as we speak right now, we have something called DSS, Direct Settlement System, whereby if your coffee goes to the auction and a buyer buys your coffee, before they pay you the money, they deduct the Coffee Advance Cherry Fund that you are given, you are loaned. So farmers pay whether they want it or not, because the buyers don't pay directly, they pay through DSS, which has that function of deducting the Coffee Cherry Fund. But out there, people think this is free money for coffee farmers, so they can play around with this money.
So, how much is in this fund?
Before Kenya Kwanza government came in, the Uhuru Kenyatta Jubilee government had left about 2.75 billion of that fund in the account, and the money was available. In fact, then the challenge was most factories were not functional properly. There was no proper documentation into the disbursement of the money. So money was held by KPCU. And this money is domiciled at KPCU.
Okay.
Are we together up to that?
And it's supposed to be coming from KPCU to the individual factories?
To the individual farmer. Not even factories, farmer.
How?
Through the DSS system. The DSS system has database of every individual farmer who farms coffee under the cooperatives.
Okay.
So every cooperative has factories under it, and every factory has the database of every farmer. So when you apply for cherry fund, you apply at the factory level.
Okay.
But the money is normally sent to your individual account as a farmer. Are we together?
Okay.
The same system of sending money to the farmer is the same system that is being used when their coffee is sold. Whenever it is sold at the auction or wherever it is sold, the buyer sends money to a central system, a common system. Let me call it a common platform. This common platform works with the same system that disperses the cherry fund. So the money is sent to the individual farmer, but the farmer has to pay or be deducted the money they took as a loan.
Okay.
Now, when Kenya Kwanza government was elected, or when it came in 2022, they found some money in that account. And President Ruto campaigned on a promise of adding that cherry fund from 2.75 billion to about 4 billion.
Why did it need to be added?
Because the number of farmers that need these monies surpasses the amount that is available.
It surpasses the allocation.
Yes, by far.
Right.
The number of farmers that are actively farming coffee and are in need of this money, actually that money is not even, it cannot, 2.75 billion could not even cover my county alone. Forget about other counties, even Kiambu alone. That money was not sufficient. Because for you to be able to help a farmer, you need to give them anything above 80 shillings per kilo. If really you want to help me to make sure that at least I can only put 20 shillings on top of 80 shillings of cherry fund for me to be productive. So when you do the maths, that money was not sufficient. Even 4 billion was very, very little. But the president pledged and promised to add that money to 4 billion. That is after elections, something that never happened. So he came on to our areas, like in Githunguri. He promised he's going to do 4 billion. The first year, he didn't do. This year, he actually promised that it is not even going to be 4 billion, it's going to be 6 billion.
In this financial year?
Yes.
2024, 2025?
Yes. And a cabinet memo was done that 6 billion is going to be created on top of what was there for us to have sufficient cherry fund.
So to make it almost 9 billion?
It was supposed to be about, it was 2.75 billion plus 2 billion that was allocated last financial year plus another 2 billion this year. That was about 6.75 billion.
So last year 2 billion was allocated?
It was allocated.
Okay.
This year another 2 billion. Then when we decided that the finance bill has been withdrawn, we lost that 2 billion. So we went back to the drawing board.
Then back to last year's allocation.
Last year's allocation. And out of last year's allocation, only 750 million was put instead of 2 billion. Allocation is different from
so in the budget,
disbursement.
In the budget,
Yeah.
on the Appropriations Act,
Yes.
2 billion shillings was to go to the coffee cherry fund.
Yes.
But it was not disbursed.
Yeah.
Only
750 million.
Million was disbursed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no any other money. But when the president goes to Mount Kenya, he tells farmers that I have put for you 6 billion. That's what my farmers know. That is what Mount Kenya farmers know. That is what Mount Elgon farmers know. That is what Nande farmers know. That is what Baringo farmers know. That they have 6 billion shillings for cherry fund. And it is not factual.
So in truth, how much is there?
It is about 2.79 something. The money that is there right now.
Okay.
But the only money Kenya Kwanza government has ever given to farmers,
is 750.
it is 750. Against the 6 billion narrative that they have been telling farmers.
Okay. So there's about 3.5 billion.
You know, this money has been revolving, so it keeps on also swelling because as the farmers pay, they pay with
interest.
With interest.
Okay.
So if it was 2.75 as seed capital, it keeps on swelling.
Right.
So I may not be able to tell you exactly to what level it is, but I'm just trying to tell you what I
those
know.
Numbers of 2.7 in 2022.
It should be about 3 point something or 4 point something.
About 4 billion. Okay.
Yeah. But it's good to be factual that the government of Kenya, Kenya Kwanza, the only money they have released to farmers for coffee cherry advance fund is 750 million, not 6 billion.
Okay.
And then along the way, PS Dr. Chris Kipto, and I can share with you this letter when I read it, the Principal Secretary, National Treasury in Nairobi, on the 22nd of August 2024, writes a letter to the PS. No, this is the Ministry of Cooperative.
Give City the letter. City, read this letter.
Hii imeandikwa na PS wa Cooperative, Principal Secretary Bwana Kilemi. Bwana Patrick Kilemi is the PS, Ministry of Cooperative and Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
KPCU is under this state department.
KPCU is under this department.
And the KPCU is the custodian of this 2.7, whatever, 4 billion shillings.
I said the fund is domiciled at KPCU.
All right.
So this Patrick Kilemi, the PS, writes a letter to Kipto.
Dr. Chris Kipto, CBS, Principal Secretary, the National Treasury.
Yes.
Nairobi.
Okay.
Yes.
What date?
The date is 22nd August 2024.
The other day too?
Yeah.
I was on leave.
Just the other day. Okay. Now let me explain this letter.
Just when I left the country.
Yes.
Hey.
That is why I told you while you are away. Baba wakati ulikuwa umeenda baba wa Spice. This letter says this is to request for reallocation of funds totaling to 1.5 billion from recurrent budget head 0010 Coffee Cherry Fund, subheaded item 2 of current grant to Sagas. The reallocated funds should be distributed to the following. Hii pesa inatolewa kwa akaunti ya KPCU, inapelekwa kwa hawa. 1. Dadora Coffee Warehouse, New KPCU.
Okay.
Sasa inatolewa kwa akaunti ya wakulima ya Kulon, inapelekwa kwa warehouse ya KPCU.
Okay.
Sababu sijui 600 million.
To the Dandora Coffee Warehouse.
Yes. Imetolewa from the mother account ya Cherry Fund. Yenye inapatia wakulima.
Mheshimiwa, what's that warehouse?
Warehouse iko hapa Dandora.
What does it do?
It's the one that receives farmers' coffee for milling.
Okay.
Or when the coffee is milled elsewhere and you want it to be prepared to go for the auction, unapeleka kwa hiyo warehouse.
Okay. So it's a storage facility.
It's a storage facility.
Okay.
Narok Milk Factory, New KCC, 150 million.
Milk,
yes. Remember, this is Coffee Advance Cherry Fund. Ronyanje's Milk Factory, New KCC, 150 million. Pavi Cotton Ginnery Headquarters, 150 million.
What's that?
Pavi Cotton Ginnery. Hii ni kazi ya pamba, si ndio? Grant to Nade Milk Factory, Kabiyet, 100 million. Grant to Kitutumasaba Coffee Factory Headquarters, 30 million. Grant to Women Cooperative Societies in Wajir, 10 million. Mandera, 10 million. Garissa, 10 million. Headquarters. I don't know whether kuna cooperative societies ya headquarter ya wamama. Hiyo sijawahi sikia. 30 million. Grant to cooperatives without describing which ones. Coffee and milk in bracket, 290 million. Total 1.5 billion. Huu ni wizi. Wizi mchana. Wizi. Na nimekuja hapa kutangaza ni wizi wa serikali.
Ngoja tufanye break.
Kana hiyo kiro.
Ngoja tufanye break. Just relax, okay? No need to be upset. Adani Mushomba is the MP for Githunguri constituency. Okay? We are talking about the Coffee Cherry Fund. Okay? It was created a long time ago. Okay? To support coffee farmers. Okay? It gets real allocations in the budgets to just keep adding into this revolving fund. Okay? She's just been reading a letter here, reportedly authored by the Principal Secretary for Cooperatives to the Principal Secretary for the National Treasury, saying let's reallocate some of this money, 1.5 billion shillings from the Coffee Cherry Fund to those other institutions. Why? We'll be asking that. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
A special report. Good morning, kid. Leo, to pay our listeners some game. Imagine kuwa na a reliable squad all through your day.
Squad unaweza count on, maze.
Uta enjoy all things finance and fun. Talk of transacting seamlessly. Plus, unaweza link other bank cards kwa app. Ulipe bills easily na uweke standing orders,
Ku-access loans za kugrow life yako nayo. It's just one time.
Squad sasa ni loop. Loops here to suit your lifestyle.
No matter what your financial or lifestyle need is, the Loop Squad will be there by your side to sort you out. Download Loop today.
It's not just an app, it's a lifestyle. Why wait? Loop it. Regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Nairobi, it's not as hot as Adani may make you think. It is actually still 18 degrees. Okay, it's still cool out there. It's just very hot in here. Up there, it's 18 degrees. Highs of 26 later. Adani's temperatures are in Malindi, 28 currently. Highs of 29 and lows of 24. Mombasa also partly sunny. Highs of 26 and currently at 26, highs of 30. It is currently 26 in Kisumu as well, highs of 32, 19 in Nakuru, highs of 26, 18 in Nyeri, highs of 25, Kakamega, sunny at 25, highs of 30, Eldoret sunny at 20, highs of 25, Kinshasa 23 and highs of 32, sunny in Addis Ababa 18 and highs of 21, Mogadishu mostly sunny at 28, highs of 30, Lagos cloudy at 26, highs of 29, Dar es Salaam sunny, highs of 30, and Kampala mostly cloudy, highs of 29, Johannesburg sunny at 22, highs of 29, Beijing mostly sunny, highs of 29, Paris 8 degrees, highs of 18, London 7 degrees, highs of 17, New York 17 degrees, highs of 26.
Spice up your life.
The roads are looking much, much better right now. This is heading in towards town. And then, of course, as you expect, you will find traffic within town. So there's the issue at Agwings-Kothek coming towards the Valley Road Junction, and then it clears, and then you see Uhuru Highway into Haile Selassie Avenue is busy. Around Parliament, the traffic is also busy. Kenyatta Avenue roundabout is very busy at present. The expressway is busy. Why is the expressway busy right now? And this is around Kenyatta Avenue, outbound towards Mombasa Road. Sijui ni kwa nini. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
People wanatoka town, baba.
Wanaenda wapi? Na ni expressway. Mbona kuna jam kwa expressway?
Leo ni Friday.
Yeah. Kenyatta Avenue is very busy. Moi Avenue is busy, and the roads within the CBD, just all of them. That's what happens during the day. So it's daytime in the CBD. You'll also find a bit of traffic heading into towards University Way, and the University Way is quite tight. Also, Globe Cinema roundabout is busy, but Globe Cinema flyover into town is also busy. Other than that, mambo iko sawa tu.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 23 minutes to 10. Our conversation continues. The Honorable Adani Mushomba, MP for Githunguri constituency. We're talking about the coffee. It's called what? Full name?
Coffee Advance Cherry Fund. Advance. And remember, I was the chair of caucus ya Bunge la Taifa. Kuhusu maneno ya majani chai na kahawa.
Yeah.
Wabunge wakashikana. Wakasema huyu mama anaongea maneno ambayo sisi hatutaki kupatanishwa nayo. Wakajiunga, mimi ndio nimeregister caucus, wakajiunga wakatengeneza yao ya plastic. Wakaniacha peke yangu. So I'm not the first one to be isolated. Gachagua is being isolated. I was isolated kitambo. Na bado na survive. Kwa sababu
so hata Gachagua atasurvive.
Hata Gachagua atasurvive.
Okay.
By the way, I was isolated. Nikaachwa na karatasi ya caucus nimeshika bila members. They disowned the caucus when I started pushing the government on matters coffee. Serious pushing. Because I started asking questions like I am asking today. So just to let those who are listening to us understand what is Cherry Fund. Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund is domiciled at New KPCU, and it is supposed to be managed and be administered by KPCU. And this fund is as per the Public Finance Management Act, Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund Regulations of 2020.
It's a fund.
So if anybody wants to reallocate this money, must come back to Parliament, either come back and create a new regulation or amend the regulations of 2020.
It is ring-fenced. Funds that are special funds that are created under the PFM Act are ring-fenced.
Exactly.
If it is money for the Petroleum Development Levy Fund, you cannot take it into sports.
Exactly.
You cannot use it to buy anything else.
Sasa hawa watu President Ruto alipatia kazi. Kwani hawasomi?
Cherry Fund created by the PFM Act. It is only for the purposes for which it's written in those regulations.
Exactly.
Subsidiary legislation. So if you want to remove it, you have to be very clear on how you're removing that fund. And only Parliament can authorize that kind of... Okay.
So whereas I have no problem, milk farmers getting money, I have a problem when you remove money that is already not sufficiently serving the people, the purpose. Because already, my farmers, for example, in Githunguri, I asked, last night I was with them, I asked them, did you all apply for Cherry Fund? Yes. Did you get? No. Why? We were told we have to wait until those that have been loaned pay back so that you can be paid. So what informs PS Kilemi that the farmers now have sufficient and now he can reallocate the money to other sectors like milk, cotton, women groups, and which is the other one? And some funny grants cooperatives that we don't even know which one they are.
Coffee cooperatives.
Yeah. What informs the PS? You know why I'm annoyed this morning? You're saying that my temperatures are very high. The reason why I'm annoyed with this letter is because it was written on the 22nd of August 2024.
Okay.
It was written when we had already settled down matters finance bill.
Yep.
When we had already reallocated budget at the National Assembly platform.
In the appropriations.
And we did appropriations.
In the supplementary budget.
Everything, when we had already finished everything, that is when this letter was written. To me, who knew easy? Because...
Is it legal?
It is not legal.
Adani.
Unukora.
So let's talk about the budget making process, okay?
Just hold on, Eric, before we go to the budget making.
Go on.
The reason why I'm saying who knew Ukora is because you cannot write a letter and say you are removing money that is a revolving fund to giving people grants.
Grant means free money.
Grant means free money.
Yes.
Grant means not a loan. It goes.
And then you write a letter and you say, Dadora Coffee Warehouse, you don't say whether this is a loan or a grant. You go down and give Narok Milk Factory. You don't say whether it's a loan or a grant. Ronyajas, you don't say whether it's a loan or a grant. But number 5, you say grant to Nade Milk Factory. Why is Nade Milk Factory being given grants? Free money? Why not write grant to Ronyajas Milk Factory and those two both factories?
They're both milk factories.
And the cooperative.
And then you say grant to Kitutu Masaba Coffee Factory headquarters. Who qualified Kitutu Masaba to get 30 million and did not qualify Maigadhiroine Coffee Factory to get 30 million grant? That is why I'm saying you know Ukora. And President Ruto must realize that he is failing not because he did not have a vision in this country, but he nominated and appointed thugs, mikora. Amfanyie kazi. Let me ask you, Eric. Number 8, grants to cooperatives. Which ones? How do you write a letter like this and say grant to cooperatives, coffee and milk into bracket? Which cooperatives?
How much was that?
290 million grant to cooperatives.
But
Which cooperatives?
Are we sure that this letter was written by the PS?
Is my eyesight failing me? Have you looked at this signature?
I don't know. I've never seen the PS's signature.
This is the first time I actually come across this person myself. I didn't even know that there was...
Kilemi?
Yes. I had not come across him before. But now I know he's there. But this letter looks authentic to me.
It's very authentic.
It was a letterhead of the ministry.
Yeah.
Serikaliko.
Nimesainiwa na kalamu.
Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises.
And by the way, before I came here, I just didn't get the letter. I called a few people at Treasury and they confirmed that they have this letter.
Which has been received.
Yeah. And there is even a communication from Treasury saying we may not be able to do this without going through Parliament.
Okay. Oh, he's responded.
Somebody has responded.
So that's why I wanted to...
So they can't disown the letter because there is communication. There's registered communication.
I wanted to ask the question about what's in law.
Yes.
In terms of process of budget making.
Yeah.
When the Appropriations Act is in effect, it has line items.
Yeah.
Shilling by shilling up to 3.9 trillion, whatever our budget is, of where the money goes. Right?
Yeah.
And for you to move one thing from this line to another line, you then must go to Parliament with the supplementary budget.
That is the ideal procedure.
The supplementary budget is where now the National Treasury comes and proposes, we'd like to move this item here and maybe put some of this money, reallocate some of this budget into this.
That is the ideal procedure, Eric.
Okay.
And that is the eyes of the law qualifies that procedure. But the eyes of politicians who are in the ministry do not see those procedures. And this is the first government that has been practicing their own way of transactional business, government business, based on their feelings and their emotions and their political affiliations. This is the first government where money is allocated to fence off activate, and you confirm that money is there from budgeting to allocations in Parliament, to posting in Treasury, only for the money to disappear between Treasury and the ministry. Money disappears. And when I speak as a member of Parliament, please listen to me because I know what I'm talking about.
What does disappear mean?
Money just disappears. You are told...
We don't know the destination.
You don't know the destination of the money.
But it's no longer there.
It is no longer there.
And how is it accounted for then?
One wonders. That is why the Gen Zs are annoyed. That is why we are asking for accountability in this country. So when you write such a letter as a PS, how many other letters are written by other PSs that we don't know?
Actually, yeah.
This is only one letter that Gathoni happens to find because I'm very engraved on matters coffee. I'm quite engraved. On my daily routine, I must get into the agricultural coffee portals every day. I even follow coffee auction on a daily basis. How much coffee was sold? Which coffee factory had the best yield? The highest auction bid? I follow how much kilograms of coffee and tea were sold. Remember, I'm the one who actually blew the whistle on the mess that is in Mombasa tea auction. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I talked about 80 million kilos of tea in August this year, beginning of August this year. 80 million kilos of tea stuck up in Mombasa warehouses and sold. Saa hii wakulima hawakupata vile nilikuwa nasema then. Saa hii wakulima wameanza kulalamika. In fact, I hear wakulima wakule Kagwa Tea Factory, they are complaining they want to go on strike because their bonuses have been affected by the mess that has been done at the auction, Mombasa. I follow coffee and tea on a daily basis, not because I'm an agriculturalist by training, but I'm very passionate about agriculture. And I represent farmers. I follow every other activity in tea and coffee in this country. So that is why I'm able to get this letter. How many other letters are written in secrecy?
Then last year you came onto this show, and as you were finishing an interview, which was a separate conversation, you raised an issue of water.
Yep.
And money allocated for the construction of water and provision of water services.
Yeah.
And you said that money that was meant to come to benefit people in Githunguri constituency and Thika areas had also been reallocated.
Yes.
Through
the same letters like this one.
Through a letter from a PS to the National Treasury.
Yeah.
Did it happen?
Yes, it did. They denied the letter, but eventually the money disappeared. The money was never reverted back.
So what was allocated?
I complained here. I remember I came here and I complained.
Yeah.
I actually even did a very official communication to the minister in charge of water, complaining. And she actually called me and told me, I'm also not very comfortable with that reallocation, so I'm going to ask the PS to revert. And the PS promised to revert, but it was not done. We lost 400 million. Money that was supposed to be for reticulation of water in my constituency from Karemeno Dam. And people keep asking me, Gathoni, you are elected on UDA ticket. Why do you keep complaining? I keep complaining because I see a lot of thuggery, a lot of lies, a lot of dishonesty. How do you come to my constituency and promise me that you're going to give us 400 million to give us pipes to get water, and then underhand comes and writes a letter and takes away the money? And not only my money, you take my money and Thika's money, because even Thika was supposed to benefit. Gatanga was supposed to benefit.
Did you raise this question in Parliament?
I did. I wrote a question, but it never came to fulfillment. Because you know who is in charge of those questions and who kanyangias when they want to kanyangia. Sorry to use that language.
No.
To kanyangia, you know it's what?
In which language?
In Kiswahili.
Yes. Yes, I'm aware. Quick a full stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking that is because what you're saying here is you're pointing to illegalities.
Yeah.
All right? If our constitution and our laws clearly stipulate how budgets shall be made, how money shall be allocated, the role of Parliament in creating a budget, the role of Parliament in allocating money to each and every entity and each and every vote, and then the role of Parliament in approving any changes to that. And then you say that Parliament has not been consulted for changes, but changes have been made after a budget has been passed and it has been made into law and it has been gazetted. These are illegalities.
And that is why you had the young people of Kenya protest very wildly and talked about what they are calling budgeted corruption. You know, if you look at the content of this letter, this must have been a mess that was done when we were removing money. We are removing money from this place to this place to sort of balance the budget in Parliament. When they realized that there is a mess, they ran to write such letters to cover their mess. So probably maybe this money, the 1.5 billion is already taken away. This letter was a cover letter to cover the mess that they have already done. Yes. I remember in a very informal way, myself and Dede Nyoro spoke about Coffee Cherry Fund. And I called Dede to where I sit in Parliament. Nikamwambia kijana kuja. I call him kijana. Mimi naona kama hapa mmetunyang'anya pesa ya Cherry Fund. Akaniambia hapana, hatujanyang'anya. Nikamfanyia mahesabu. I think he realized I have a point. And already ni kama walikuwa wameshatoa hii pesa in the process of trying to balance the budget. So this letter is a cover-up letter.
So the supplementary budget may already not be having this 1.5 billion shillings.
In fact, it's not 1.5. I think it is 2 billion. I think it is 2 billion. This letter is supposed to cover. Now, I'm here because I know people listen to you. I know even the government listened to you. I need to call them out on behalf of my farmers. Hello? I am a duly elected member of Parliament by coffee farmers and tea farmers.
And dairy farmers.
And dairy farmers. Yes. And I will not sit pretty when they are messing up my farmers. I will not even, no amount of intimidation and threat will shut me up when they are doing this kind of mess. As we speak, Eric, let me tell you, I have a coffee factory that cannot afford to pay power bills. Power bills.
Why?
Because they have no money.
Where is their money?
Their money was stolen.
How?
By cooperative society.
How?
The board members decided to just open a new account for themselves and post the farmers' money in their special account and disappeared with the money. I can show you a message here on my phone. They are actually pleading with me to go and help them revive that factory. It died. They closed down. Yet they have coffee trees. They are forced to harvest their coffee and transport their coffee for over 20 kilometers to the nearest neighboring coffee factory. This cherry fund is what is supposed to be helping those farmers to revive their coffee factory. I know coffee is devolved, but our governors ran away from coffee matters. I decided I'm not going to run away from coffee matters. I must speak for my farmer. It doesn't matter what, I will speak. This money must not move from new KPCU accounts. And after this, we should actually now be looking at the new KPCU mother account to know whether this money has left, the 600 million. I am a coffee stakeholder, Eric, and I'm a very big stakeholder. Not only being a member of parliament for Githunguri, I am a coffee farmer. And I have coffee numbers in 4 factories in my constituency where I deliver my coffee because I have various farms. You cannot move money from mother KPCU account for cherry fund and deposit it under the Dora Coffee Warehouse new KPCU without involving stakeholders. How did you just decide to do this?
Let's take a couple of steps back, okay? Since the establishment of this fund, this particular current fund, just paint the picture for those who do not come from the coffee growing areas, so they don't know the whole process. How was the situation before the fund was established, and what impact has the fund had since establishment? Paint for us the picture.
Before Advanced Cherry Fund was created, we had Coffee Development Fund. We used to call it CDF. That money was for the farmers, but through the factory's infrastructure. So the farmers would get the money, but not directly for them to be able to buy pesticides, herbicides, and whatever else they needed to buy. The money was sent to the coffee factories. Due to bad governance in factories, this money never used to reach farmers. The coffee factories managers would say, we have bought drying beds, we have put solar system, we have put new gates, and the money would disappear. So we realized we may invest so heavily on the coffee infrastructure, but the farmers are still so poor to afford to give us what we need.
So you will not have the produce.
Yes, that is how we moved from CDF, Coffee Development Fund, to Coffee Advanced Cherry Fund.
Okay.
Are we together up to there?
To there, we are together. Now, show me the impact to the farmer.
When the farmer gets this advance, he is able to make sure he sprays his coffee so that the coffee doesn't fall off from CBD attacks. He's able to buy all the pesticides that is needed. And therefore, you help that farmer to harvest more kilos. And not only more kilos, but better quality. Can I shock you? When one of my society called Komodhai Coffee Society was able to access this money, 40 shillings per kilo, not even 80, 40 shillings. We have moved from 200,000 kilos per year to 600,000 kilos last year in August. To date, we are registering 1.2 million kilos.
So productivity increased.
One society only. Productivity, when the farmer is able to afford fertilizer or manure, is able to afford pesticides and inputs like dawa za kunyinyuzia wakati wa mvua, wakati wa baridi, yield goes high, production levels goes high. And most farmers who have abandoned their coffee trees, they go back to tendering them because they have money to prune, money to employ casual laborers to help you harvest, so the produce goes higher.
And this money,
I am a testimony. My own farm and my neighbors, we have increased our production level so high. And you know, when our production level goes high, vijana wanapata kazi. Because now you employ more into your farm. Wakusaidie kumwaga manure, wakusaidie kuprune. So, you know, this just revitalizes the sector. So this is such a good fund if only is managed well. And protected.
And the farmers access it as a loan.
As a loan, yes. And it is a short-term loan, not even a long-term.
It's only due in
that next season.
Okay.
So if you take the money at the beginning of the season, by end of that season,
you're repaying.
You repay it. So why would anybody like Patrick Kilemi, if for heaven's sake, if he's the one who wrote this letter, what would he be having at the back of his mind? Honestly. Could this be the reason why Cherugui was chased away? I'm just asking.
So what are you going to do now next? You're an MP.
I'm going to go ask people to go to court and stop this. Because if Parliament cannot help us, what do we do?
And what will you do if the money has already been transferred and is no longer there?
We make sure that the next parliamentary budget season, we reallocate back the money. That is if the MPs will be convinced that this is a wrong move. Because I'm not so sure whether even the MPs, some of those who come from the coffee growing areas, believe this is wrong. Because they have a habit of cheering wrongs.
Why? Because they don't understand?
Some of them don't understand.
And yet they are in coffee growing. They are members of parliament representing people
they don't
in
understand.
coffee growing areas.
Yeah, they don't understand. Some of them. And those that understand, some of them are carried away politically that they cannot say anything is wrong even if it is wrong. I thought yesterday the 48 MPs that went to Nyahururu to declare that they have a new nexus to national government would make it such an issue, an agenda, and use their numbers to appeal to the ministry not to do this. But unfortunately, that does not happen. Yeah.
Adani, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Asante sana. Now remember, dial *544# and choose Go Monthly and then select the all-in-one monthly package courtesy of Safaricom. And you stand a chance of winning 3,000 bob if you send a screenshot to us and you tell us that you've actually subscribed. This is the Safaricom all-in-one package. *544#, you get 17 GB data, you get 1,000 minutes airtime, 2,000 SMSs, free WhatsApp, only for 2,000 bob. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. We'll be back on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. It's now 10 a.m.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. 6 school-going children have been killed in a road accident at Witu Shopping Centre on the Kitui-Kibwezi Road. Confirming the Friday morning incident, Ikitha Deputy County Commissioner Vincent Lobachari said the victims include 3 primary school children and 3 from secondary school.